A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Jerry, at Fair Oaks.
I'm just going into my room.
I just met Lee downstairs, and he said you were looking for me.
Yeah, I am. Come on in a minute. What's Lee doing?
He was talking with Tubby. He said he'd be up in a little while.
Okay. Sit down.
What did you want to see me about?
Wait till I pull this chair up here. There. Now, listen, I'm going to tell you this fast.
Okay.
I want you to do me a favor. That is, I want you to do Mac a favor, yes, and even your dad.
I don't get you.
Well, I guess I started wrong. Now I'll start at the beginning. In the first place, remember the other day when Lee and I were talking and we said it was a secret?
Yeah.
Well, what we were talking about was a secret then, but now I can let you in on it. It's about an invention, an airplane invention.
An invention?
Uh-huh, Mac's invention. Would you like to help put over a good airplane invention?
Sure I would. I'll do anything I can.
Good. Now, here's where you come in. We want to get your dad interested in it.
Well, if it's about airplanes, he'll be interested.
That's what I figured. I'll tell you what it is. It's a true altimeter. It tells the exact distance between a plane and the ground or mountain it's flying over instead of the distance from sea level. Do you understand?
I don't know. I guess so.
Well, it's good. You can take my word for that. It's something that's been needed a long time. And besides, it also warns when the plane is flying into something like a mountain or something like that.
Say, that sounds all right.
Mac's already got a little model of it, and boy, it's keen. But he wants to build a working model so he can have it tried out in a real airplane and see if it works.
And you want Dad to try it out for him?
That's part of it. But more important is the money to build a working model.
How much?
Well, it'll take quite a bit, about $250.
Jiminy.
Now, here's what I thought. If we can get your dad to come here and see Mac's invention and have a talk with him, well, maybe he'd put up the money, and, well, then, of course, he'd be part owner.
I see what you mean. Sure, he might do that, and help Mac with the working model, too.
And that's it, exactly.
But what's the favor you want of me?
Well, I want you to write to your dad and ask him to come here to see the invention.
Is that all?
Well, that's all. Well, it'll have to be a good letter to get him to make a trip all the way to Fair Oaks. I figured I could help you with it and explain the invention a little. You know, so he'll understand that it's something really worthwhile.
That's okay. We can write the letter whenever you want to.
Good. Now, I'll tell you what
Hi. How you getting along?
Oh, okay, Lee.
Hi, Lee.
Hi. Did Jerry tell you all about it?
Uh-huh.
Well, what do you think of it? Do you think your dad might be interested in something like that?
I don't know, but I should think he would.
Well, we're going to write him a nice long letter tonight and tell him all about it and find out.
Oh, boy, that's great. Now, if you've got that settled, I've got something very important to take up. Can you listen now?
Sure.
What is it?
Well, we've got work to do.
What do you mean?
We got work to do? Don't we always have work to do? Oh, what is it? What are you talking about?
Now, take it easy. Let me explain.
Will it take long?
Oh, Jerry.
Okay, go ahead. I'm only kidding.
But I said this was important.
All right, go on and tell it. We're listening.
Well, in the first place, there's a tradition here at Fair Oaks that I don't think either one of you are familiar with. and that's painting the stack on the powerhouse.
Huh?
That's right. It's up to the plebes to paint the smokestack on the powerhouse.
But why?
Yeah, why should we have to do work like that? Well, I don't want to learn to be a painter.
You don't understand. It's an honor to do it.
Well, go on.
Well, it's like this. Every year, the freshman class manages to paint the letters FMA up on the stack. The upperclassmen always try to keep the plebes from doing it. They have spies, and whenever they see a few plebes having a meeting, they try to find out what it's about. And in general, they make it pretty tough for us to get the letters up there.
I see what you mean.
Well, what's your idea?
Well, I was just talking with Tubby, and he said he thought some of the other plebes were planning on painting the stack one night this week.
Oh, then you can do it at night. Well, that's not so hard.
Say, it's plenty hard. Those upperclassmen are on their toes. They're watching every minute.
Has the smokestack been painted every year?
Yes, sir, every year since Fair Oaks was founded. Although one year it looked like the plebes were licked. It was the day before graduation, before they got the letters up on the stack.
Boy, that was a close call.
I'll say it was.
Can anyone do it?
Sure. The plebes that paint the stack get the glory, and as long as they're at Fair Oaks, they're known as the paint crew.
Then what do you say we do it?
Well, I was just coming to that.
Hey, that's okay. I'm in on it. But, well, what do you say we take a walk over to Max? I want to tell him I talked to Harold and that we're going to write that letter.
Yeah, sure. We can talk on the way over.
Yeah.
Come on, get your cap, Harold.
Okay.
We'll have to be careful and make sure nobody's listening.
Now, soul around. Everybody's over at the gym or down to the lake.
Now, listen. If those other fellas are planning on painting the stack this week, we've got to beat them to it. There's no time to lose. We've got to paint that smokestack tonight.
Tonight?
We haven't got the paint or anything yet.
I know it. We'll have to work fast. But Tubby and I were talking it over, and I think our plan will work.
Okay, shoot.
Well, Tubby's going over to Peter's hardware store next to Max just before mess. Then he's going to take the paint and brush and hide them in the bushes right near the powerhouse.
You mean he's going to buy the paint and brush at the hardware store?
Sure. And he's going to lay out the money. Well, we can chip in and give him back what he's paid for it.
Hey, that's okay. That's keen. Well, then what?
Well, then we'll have to get together and have another meeting.
What for?
To decide just who's going to do the painting. We'll draw for it.
Hey, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, fun if we're not caught.
What would happen if we got caught?
No, if we were caught by an officer, we'd most likely get a very generous portion of the merits. But if we were caught by an upperclassman, we'd have to go back up on the ladder with a cup of gasoline and a toothbrush and clean it off. And maybe that isn't a job.
I'll say. Well, we won't be caught.
Oh, we hope not.
Hey, how about that, the ladder?
Well, there's supposed to be a ladder on the roof of the powerhouse that we can hoist up on the smokestack.
That's a help.
Yeah, if it's there.
Now, let's not say anything about it while we go through Custis Hall.
Okay, I got you.
How'd you fellas getting along with your English and spelling?
Well, I don't know. I think that maybe I'm doing
good
all
stuff. Keep it up.
That problem Mrs. Gardner gave us this morning about the farmer that had 10 acres and a tractor, well, that kind of got me.
Good acting, boy. Too bad there was nobody around to hear you. Now, what were you saying?
We were talking about the ladder being handy for us.
Oh, well, let's not worry about that. It'll be there. They leave the ladder up there all the time.
Hey, but wait a minute. How about getting up to the roof of the powerhouse?
Oh, that's the easiest part of it. There's a little iron ladder that's fastened right into the cement around on the west side.
I know the kind you mean, like they have on water towers.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're pretty nearly to Max. Now, listen, right after mess tonight, we'll talk about when we're going to meet, okay?
Sure, perfect.
Hey, how about you, Harold?
You can count on me. Right after mess and just before we go to study hall.
Right. Okay, here we are. Go ahead, Jerry. Hello, Max.
Oh, welcome, lads. I'll be right with you.
Okay.
Hey, look it, fellas.
What is it? What's all the excitement?
Look at this aviation magazine here. It's got my dad's picture right in the front cover.
Say, that's nice.
Guy Linwell, #1 test pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, greetings, lads.
Hi.
Hey, I've got good news for you, Mac.
Oh, good for you. There's nothing I like better than good news.
I'm going to look through this aviation magazine. Okay, Mac?
Oh, sure, lad. Help yourself.
It's got my dad's picture on it. Look it.
Well, no, that's great, Harold. That's fine. Yes, sir.
Say, Mac, Harold thinks it's a swell idea. We're going to get that letter off to his dad tonight.
Oh, fine. You're a man of action, Jerry. Yes, sir, a man of action.
Has Mr. Russell been here yet, Mac?
Aye, he was. And he's gone this time for good. He won't be coming back any more, so I hope Mr. Linwell has a mind to take an interest in the altimeter. I've set my cap for that.
What did Mr. Russell say?
Oh, he was put out, Jerry. Yes, sir, he was put out. He didn't like the idea of me wanting to get someone else in on the invention.
I told you he wouldn't go for that.
Yeah, you were right. But I told him the truth. I told him it was my invention, and I thought I had a right to do with it as I pleased.
No, you were right, Mac.
Yeah, he got real huffy there towards the end. As a matter of fact, I'm lucky I've got a glass in that front door.
Did he slam it?
Slam it? Lord, you think it was an earthquake. When he shut that door behind him, everything in the establishment shook. Will you have something to drink or some ice cream?
No, thanks, Mac.
We just came over to talk and find out about Mr. Russell.
Oh, well, that's the story.
You're not sorry, are you?
No, sir. No, I'm not. He showed his colors, Russell did. Yes, sir, he showed himself up by losing his temper.
Hey, look at this. Here in this magazine.
What is it, another picture of your dad?
It's more important than that. It's about your invention, Mac.
Huh?
This is the thing Jerry told me you invented.
About my invention? Well, that couldn't be, lad. No one knows about it. That is, outside of yourselves and, well, maybe a couple of others.
Well, look. See for yourself. Here's the story. Read it.
Gosh. Well, what do you know about that?
What is it? Read it, Mac.
Listen. Aviation gets absolute altimeter. New invention shows height of airplane above ground. This new technical advancement, using a shortwave sound principle, gives accurate distance between plane and ground over which it is flying. The old type only gave altitude from sea level. Gosh. That's it. That's my idea.
Well, read on, Mac.
The new altimeter can also be pointed so as to tell distance between plane and approaching objects.
Even that part of it is yours.
Yes, it is.
What else does it say, Mac?
The invention was perfected after a year's work by the inventors. Airlines welcome this new safeguard, and all planes will be equipped with the new contrivance as soon as delivery can be made.
Aw, Jiminy.
That's a shame, Mac. I'm awfully sorry for you.
What? What's this? Why, I think it's wonderful. It's been tried out and it works. Just think of the added safety to the thousands of folks that travel in airplanes.
Yes, but think of the money you lost by not getting yours out first.
Jerry Dugan, I'm surprised at you. Losh, lad, you kidding. Right from the start I told you it wasn't the money I was after. It's the good of the thing. For the good of humanity. I'm as happy as can be that it's working, and maybe a year or so sooner than I could have got it to work. Oh, be grateful, lads, be grateful. Why, gratitude is a poor man's money. Why, I'm happy and a little proud that I thought of the same thing that these big engineers worked out. Oh, now cheer up. Now, there's more ideas and millions of more things to invent. Oh, I might wake up in the morning with something brand new to work on.
That's a nice way to feel about it.
Well, it's the only way, Harold. I've got a free mind now to go ahead with something else. Oh, I know how you feel, Jerry. You were pulling for me, and I appreciate it. But don't worry. Something else will come up. You'll see. Then you can help me again.
Will you declare us in on your next invention, Mac?
Oh, you bet I will. The three of us will work it out together. Dugan, Phillips, and McLeod. That's a promise.
Hooray! Hey, how's that, Lee?
Boy, that's keen.
What do you say we get back now? Maybe we'll have time to talk some more
Hey,
about...
quiet.
What's this? Is there a secret I'm not in on?
Well, no, nothing like that, Mac.
You're not fooling me, Lee Phillips?
Yes, it is a secret, Mac. But just wait until tomorrow. You'll find out about it then.
Hey, come on, Jerry. Harold.
Okay, I'm coming.
I let you in on my secrets.
Yeah, and we'll let you in on this. Tomorrow, sure.
All right, whatever it is, good luck to you, lads. Secret.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned the Juvenile Bureau. The high schools in your city have been flooded with obscene literature. You stamp out one source, and a dozen more spring up. Your job, stop them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke king-size Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, enjoy Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, October 21st. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Juvenile Bureau. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Inspector Lester, commander of the Juvenile Bureau. My name's Friday. It was 10 a.m. when we got to the auditorium of Canfield High School. Stage door.
Guess we go right out onto the stage.
Yeah, we better wait till we're called, though, huh?
You're the man from the police department?
Yes, sir. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
Howdy do.
How do you do?
I'm Paul Fisher, the principal here. Come right out onto the stage and get the meeting started.
Yeah, all right. That's it.
Just have a chair there.
Thank you.
Is the microphone on? Ladies and gentlemen of the Coordinating Council, members of the Parent Teachers Association. As you know, this meeting has been called for the purpose of discussing ways and means to bring about an end to the distribution of the filthy and obscene books and pamphlets that have been littering every high school campus in the city of Los Angeles. We've tried every means at our disposal to clean this matter up, and they all seem to fail. On the advice of the Coordinating Council and Mrs. Regan of the PTA, we've called in the authorities. Here to discuss the matter with us this morning are two officers connected with the Juvenile Bureau of our police department. Sergeant Romero and Sergeant Friday. And now, may I turn the meeting over to Sergeant Friday of the Los Angeles Police Department.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the only way we're going to get to the bottom of this thing and put a stop to it is to get all the information we can on where this lascivious material is coming from. You people, as parents and teachers of the children who are buying and reading this stuff, might be able to give us some help. So, if it's all right with you, Mr. Fisher, I'd like to hear from some of the people sitting out there, if I may.
Certainly. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Well, if any of you people have anything to say or any information, any questions, why, we'd be glad to listen to you and do our best to answer your questions. Yes, the lady out there, go right ahead.
I'm Mrs. Stein. I know of a place in our neighborhood that has dirty books. I feel sure that that's one of the places where the children are getting this trash. Complaints have been made to the police department, but the man who runs the place has never been arrested. Can you tell me why?
Well, ma'am, I think I'd better make it clear now that there's only one way a police officer can arrest anyone for possession of lewd literature. The officer has to prove that the party who possesses this literature does so for the purpose of selling it. Sometimes that's difficult to prove.
Well, I told you I can prove it.
You mean you can go to this place and buy a book from him?
Maybe I couldn't. If I were known.
Yes, ma'am, that's just the point. Now, I don't know offhand about the one in your neighborhood, but I can assure you that we've cracked down on hundreds of such peddlers in the past few months. You can see for yourselves if this doesn't put a stop to it. We've got to get to the source.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir?
My name's Fred Scott. I'm director of the Square Shooters Boys Club.
Yes, sir.
The point I'm trying to make is, I know the young boys pretty well. With the exception of my boys, 49 in number, I'll wager just about every boy in this high school has one of those books. Or at least he's seen one.
Yes, sir. We're aware of that.
The point I'm trying to make is, somewhere in the municipal code, there's got to be a law to forbid such things.
Yes, sir, there is such a law.
Then why isn't it enforced?
It is.
What does the law say?
Well, how do you mean, sir?
Well, I mean, what happens when somebody's found guilty of selling these books? What's the penalty?
Oh, well, the law states that an offender is liable to fines, a jail term of 6 months, or both.
That's not much of a law, is it? Why isn't there a stronger law?
Well, I wouldn't know that, sir.
The point I'm trying to make is, we need laws with some teeth in them.
We have good laws in the state of California for the most part. It's true that we're weak in some cases, but you can say that about most states, I think.
Well, you may be satisfied with the laws, but I'm not. I say stronger laws. That's the answer.
No, I don't think it is, Mr. Scott. Passing a set of new laws isn't going to make this city a cleaner or a safer place for your boys to grow up in. Laws don't decide how moral a city's going to be. People do. Laws don't mold character in young boys either. The parents and teachers do that.
I don't think I know what you're getting at. What do you mean?
Well, just this, Mr. Scott. It's our job on the police department to keep filthy junk like these books from falling into youngsters' hands.
Yes?
Now, on the other side of the fence, the youngster has to be taught to recognize this obscene material for what it is, filth and garbage. And the youngsters have to be taught that in the home, in the school, and the church. Now, if they can be made to understand that the kind of dirt and filth these books represent, well, that'd be worth more than any new set of laws, wouldn't it?
But what about these men that put out the books? The men who sell them? How do you reach them?
Through the youngsters. They seem to know the way. The next morning at 8 a.m., after meeting with Inspector Lester of Juvenile Bureau, Ben and I went on stakeout at Canfield High School. From past experience, we knew there was little hope of a quick end to the case. It was going to be a long haul, tracing the source all the way up the line from the high school kids who bought the filthy books to the small fry pushers, the wholesalers, and finally, we hoped, to the top, the man who printed the books. We had no illusions on that score. Generally, with the arrest of his pushers and other small-timers who work for him, the top man gets the alarm and clears out before the police officer can apprehend him with evidence that will stand up in court. During the first 2 days at Canfield High, Ben and I found out nothing. The obscene literature was being bartered and exchanged between students, but the main source of supply was still a mystery. We had one slim lead to go on. Mr. Fisher, the high school principal, helped run it down.
We've been watching that boy down in the yard since yesterday, Mr. Fisher. Seems to have quite a bit of spending money, expensive clothes, car of his own.
I don't know that boy's family. They could be well-fed.
We saw him with a stack of those dirty books in his notebook. He must have had a dozen of them. He was showing them around to his crowd.
Travis, are you sure?
Joe, take a look down there.
Yeah. Yeah, Travers is showing him something. I can't see what it is.
Come over to this side of the window.
Yeah.
Small books. He's giving them to one of the other fellows.
They've got their wallets out. They're giving Travers money.
Come on, Ben. You better come too, Mr. Fisher.
This way out to the yard?
No, to the left. That's it.
Let's hurry, huh?
This door, Sergeant. Right here. Travers. Travers.
Hello, Mr. Fisher.
I'd like to talk to you.
Yeah?
Now, these men here are from the police department. They want to ask you some questions.
Can we go inside?
Yeah, sure. Come on.
What's the matter, Mr. Fisher? I haven't done anything.
Oh, you see. Come on.
What is it? What's it all about?
Sergeant?
It'll be a lot easier if we have the truth now, son. Did you just sell those boys out there some dirty books?
No, I mean, it's only a gag. They're funny books.
Have you got any more of them on you?
Yes, sir.
Can we see them, please?
I didn't steal them. Only books. Funny books. Here.
Thanks.
Almost a dozen.
Mm-hmm. You think these are funny books, do you, Travis?
Well, some of them. I guess not. It's only a gag, Sergeant.
Where'd you get them?
I didn't steal them. I bought them off a guy.
Who?
Why? I can't tell you.
Do you have any more of these books?
No, sir.
Will you show us your locker?
I can't remember the combination. It's a new locker.
Could you open the locker for us, Mr. Fisher?
Yes, but I'll have to get the maintenance man.
All right, I'll show you. Come on. Down here, sir. This one. 412. I've only got a couple.
All right, we'll see.
Come on, open it.
I haven't done anything.
Here's a sample, Joe. Locker's loaded down with them.
Rotten silk.
You can't arrest me. I don't sell the books. I only rent them.
Somebody's been briefing you. Who?
You're only making it hard on yourself, boy.
You can't prove anything. These are my books. I don't sell them.
Where do you get them? Who sold them to you?
Nobody. I got them, that's all.
All right. We'll have to talk to your folks.
You can't. They're away. No, you can't. Don't.
Afraid we'll have to, son.
Oh, please don't tell them. Please don't let them know I'll do anything.
All right, let's have the truth then. Who are you selling the books for?
His name's Barney. That's all I know. I meet him at a cigar store downtown, 5th and Harrison.
Does he sell you the books?
He gives them to me. I sell them and then give him the money. I get 10 cents for every one I sell.
How much do you sell them for?
25 cents. Some are $1. I get 30 cents for those.
The boys in this school have been paying that kind of money for this film?
Yes, sir.
This man who gives you these books, you know where he lives?
No, sir. I haven't any idea.
When are you going to see him?
Well, this is Wednesday. I was going to meet him downtown this afternoon.
The cigar store?
Yes, sir. But I don't want to get Barney in trouble. He's been okay to me.
Sure. He's done a lot for you. 4 p.m. Wednesday. Ben and I drove downtown with 16-year-old Eddie Travers. We parked the car near the corner of 5th and Harrison and kept an eye on the cigar store. We waited.
No sign yet, Travers?
No, sir. Barney usually waits by the newsstand there. I haven't seen him yet.
How long you been selling for this man, son?
About 3 months, maybe 4.
Any idea where he gets the books?
Well, Oh, just a minute, Sergeant.
Yeah?
I think... Yeah, that's Barney, the one going up to the cigar counter.
The man in the gray suit there?
Yeah, that's him. He's going into Juanita's Cafe.
Is that where you usually go after you meet him?
Yes, sir.
You better take the boy back to the office, Ben. I'll tail this guy and see what I can find out.
Okay, you want me to pick you up later?
I'll call you at the office. Oh, you got any matches?
No, I'm out.
I'll pick some up at the cigar stand.
Right. See you later.
Yeah. Box of matches?
Yep.
And pack of spearmint, too.
All right, sir. Much obliged.
Got a special on Old Typical New Bourbon today. $2.69 a fifth.
No, thanks.
Hey, Rosie. Rosie, another tamale when you get time, huh?
All right, buddy. Go come in. Yes, sir.
Let me have chicken tacos, side order of fried beans, and a cup of coffee, huh?
Chicken tacos on one. Side up beans. Another tamale. Anything else, Barney?
Yeah, some more coffee, huh, Rosie?
Tamale on one.
Hey. Slide the ketchup down here, will you?
Yeah, here you go.
Thanks. They got good tacos in there. Lots of meat in them. It's fresh stuff.
Yeah.
There's the sugar.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Rosie. Here. Here, Rosie.
Yeah.
Got some new ones in just today. Whole stack them.
What are you talking about?
You know, the picture books. Good ones. You can make some money on the side. They'd sound good around here.
Listen, Barney, I told you once, no.
Oh, come on, here. Look them over. Here's a good one.
I said no, that lousy junk. The next time you bring that stuff in here, I tell the boss, understand? Now eat and get out.
Well, that's a real funny thing. Looks great, but boy, what a cold potato.
Yeah?
Come on, eat and get out and take that junk with you.
Nah, cold potato. I don't want you chowing anyway.
Well, coffee's certainly cold.
Yeah. Yep. You probably get a big boot out of these. You look.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's good quality stuff. Yeah. Give me that little book there. Let me show you one. Wait a minute. Yeah. When I kill you?
Yeah. How about selling me one of them?
Okay. 4 bits for the small ones, $1 for the big one. Wait a minute. Let's see, I got 14 of them out there. Tell you what I'll do. I'll make you a deal. You can have the whole works for $10.
Okay. You got any more?
Well, you going in business for yourself?
No, I got a newsstand up in Riverside. Books, I guess, ought to go fast. I think I can probably handle another $25 worth.
Ah. I got the rest of them back at the hotel. Someone red color.
Yeah?
You want to meet me there tonight? Around 7?
Where's the hotel?
Well, you go straight up 6th Street from here. It's just 1 block on your left. Call the Denver House. I'm in room 337.
You going up there now?
Well, I was supposed to meet some guy, but... Yeah, we can go now. How about a check, Rosie, huh?
Yes.
Hey, you'll probably be wanting more of these. I can put you on my mailing list.
Okay. The prices are right. I don't want to pay retail.
Yeah, we can work out a deal. Come on, let's go.
Okay.
Hey, that Rosie, huh? She's really put together.
Yeah?
Too bad. A real cold potato, though.
Some are like that.
Yeah.
No sense of humor. We left Juanita's Cafe and walked up Harrison Street to 6th. We turned left and went down 1 block. It was 5 minutes to 5 when we got to Barney's room in the Denver house, number 337. He dragged out a steamer trunk from under the bed and counted out a stack of books and pamphlets covering the general topic of degenerate filth in stories and photographs.
Okay, Mac, there you are. It's $25 worth. Pay the money and the bucks are all yours.
Okay. There you go. Yes. 10, 15, 18. I'll have to give you a check for the rest.
How do I know it's any good? You could take off. I'd never see you again.
You'll see me. You're under arrest.
Huh? Hey, you're kidding. Ain't like
all right, let's hold it right here.
Hey, wait a minute. Oh, now, look, Lieutenant, we can work this thing out.
We'll work it out downtown.
Oh, wait a minute. I can set this thing right for you.
Where are you getting this junk? Who's supplying you?
Oh, look, why not use your head? You never get the top, man. Not in 10 years you won't.
We got lots of time. Come on.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Mr. Joseph G. Hertzberg, city editor of one of New York's great newspapers, and this is his actual signed statement.
I recommend Fatimas to anyone who likes a king-size cigarette. In my business, the long hours really put smoking to the test. Working overtime means smoking overtime, and that has sold me on Fatimas. No matter how often I light up, Fatima gives me an extra mild smoke. And Fatima flavor, it's much better every time. I've found out it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy Fatima yourself.
The long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
The filthy literature racket feeds on the curiosity of youngsters and the stupidity and ignorance of adults. It's an all-season business, and in its own quiet way, it has reached a market which the other heavy rackets never hoped to reach. Your home and your children. 6 p.m., Wednesday, October 23rd. We checked the records, and the make sheet showed the book peddler's true name to be Barney W. Timpson, 38 years old. He had a past record of one previous conviction for peddling lewd literature in Dodge City, Iowa in March 1948. We had him brought to the interrogation room.
Sit down, Timpson.
Well, let's make it easy, Barney. Where are you getting the books?
I told you, Sergeant, they deliver them to me.
Who does?
Different guys. I don't remember them all. I send different guys every time.
How often do they make the deliveries to you?
Once a month.
When?
Around the first, usually. Sometimes maybe the second and the third.
They bring the books to your hotel?
Yeah, they leave a pack up in the lobby addressed to me.
They ever use the mails?
They never do. They're not that dumb.
So you've never seen the men that you do business with?
Not so I'd know them, no.
You have no idea where they're operating from?
I don't know.
You expect us to swallow that?
I'm telling you, I don't know.
Oh, don't push us that kind of a story, Barney.
I'm giving it to you straight. Now, what else do you want?
Who's the supply man?
Hey, look, we found this notebook in your hotel room, Barney. There's a list of names in it. This your customer book?
Fred. Okay, the customer.
It gives us enough to land on you.
I know that. I've told you everything.
You still don't know who you're working for?
Oh?
Look, there's a phone number in this notebook. No name to go with it.
Yeah?
Now, look at it. This one right here.
I don't know. Must be another customer. Yeah.
Does it belong to the boss?
I don't know the boss. You don't know me.
Then who do you buy the books from?
Who says I buy them?
You must owe somebody a lot of money.
Don't worry. I don't owe him nothing. He don't owe me nothing.
He does now.
What?
You're going to jail for him. Barney Timpson was booked into Central Jail for violation of the Penal Code, Section 311.3. We contacted the telephone company, and they traced the extra phone number in Timpson's notebook to a private residence on Wonderview Drive in Laurel Canyon. A detail of men was assigned to stake out on the place. During the next week, mainly from information obtained from Barney Timpson's customers, 7 other peddlers of obscene books and pamphlets were taken into custody and questioned. 5 of the 7 told us they picked up their supply of books from the Laurel Canyon address. We moved in on the place and found thousands of lewd books and pamphlets stored in the garage. 3 men on the premises were taken into custody. They identified themselves as John Alexander, George Kelleher, and Raymond Kester. We brought them downtown and interrogated them for 2 hours. They refused to admit anything. They were booked in, but by noon their lawyers arrived and they were released on writs of habeas corpus. 2 p.m. Ben and I met with Inspector Lester of Juvenile Bureau.
Just had a call from the men on stakeout at the Laurel Canyon place. They've just been over the garage where the books are stored.
They get anything, Skip?
A couple of things. Might be fair leads.
What's that?
3 stacks of books they found were wrapped in proof letterheads from the Havenbrook Hotel.
Yeah?
We checked with the hotel. They get all their printing done at Rudolph Brothers, placed out in West L.A.
That name's not familiar to me.
It's a big layout. Their specialty is religious books, Bible, things like that.
That doesn't add.
Not so sure.
How do you mean?
Be a perfect cover for the racket. Printing the Bible one day and a flock of filthy books the next. Could be the setup.
What kind of a name does this Rudolph's place have around town? They've been here long?
50 years. Good reputation.
Well, we could give it a look.
Where's the place?
On West 3rd, just below Athens Street.
All right.
Check the place over, but don't make them suspicious. If there's anything wrong, no use tipping until we're ready to move.
All right, Skipper.
They got to reach the presses turning out this junk and choke off the supply where it starts. Do that and we got it beat.
Right.
Just a minute. Funeral door, listen. Yes, Sam. Down where? Okay, I'll be right out. Gross and Pacelli, they spotted one of the delivery cars.
Where?
Downtown. They followed it out to West L.A.
Yeah?
Rudolph's printing shop.
4 p.m., Ben and I, together with 2 other men from Juvenile Bureau, drove out Beverly Boulevard to Athens Street and down 1 block to the corner of West 3rd, where we picked up Gross and Pacelli on stakeout. The Rudolph Brothers Printing Company covered almost half a square block on the corner of West 3rd and Athens. The front of the plant had display windows featuring expensive leather-bound Bibles and other religious literature. While the other men remained on stakeout, Ben and I crossed the street and entered the plant. We introduced ourselves to the clerk in charge as potential wholesale customers, and we asked to be shown around the shop. It was more than obliging.
I'd be happy to show you our plant, gentlemen. The most modern religious publication company in the West. That's our claim. Oh, would you step this way, please?
Thank you.
On your left there, those are 3 of our new Ludlow machines. Excellent mechanisms, needless to say.
Mm-hmm. You must employ quite a few men in here.
65 full-time. Enough to meet any emergency rush jobs you might want done. Now, over here are Bush Emerson hand presses.
Oh. You handle only religious books then, huh? Nothing else?
That's right, sir. We specialize exclusively in that.
You don't take in any small contracts, school journals, things like that?
No, our steady customers take up all of our time. Here on this stone, you see the pages of a new prayer book we're getting together. Very ultra.
Mm-hmm.
An entirely different kind of typeface.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, and back there, along the wall, are new linotypes. The very latest, monotypes. Then the proof presses. Next to them are proof readers. And the flatbed trussload press beyond that.
Seems like lots of activity. Business is pretty good, I guess, huh?
Oh, yes, we're kept pretty busy. Quality printing is always in demand.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for showing us around.
Not at all, gentlemen. Anytime. Here, this way out.
All right.
I'll get you one of my cards here. There you are.
Oh, thank you.
And when you're ready to do business, why, just give me a call. I'd be glad to take care of you.
All right, sir, thanks. We'll do that.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
All right.
All right. What do you think?
You got me, nothing out of place.
Yeah, whatever system they're using, they got it down pat.
Bibles, prayer book, church announcement, that's all I saw.
Hey, Ben, look. That man getting out of that car going into Rudolph's there?
Alexander, the guy we picked up this morning out of North Canyon.
Yeah. Printing plant continued. 6 p.m. The lights in the display windows went out. The shades were drawn. We watched the employees leave. 6:30 p.m. The lights in the plant were still burning. Gross went down to the corner and picked up some hot dogs and coffee for our dinner. We ate in the car. 7:30 p.m. A black Cadillac convertible pulled up across the street. 2 men got out and let themselves in through the front door. We waited. Between 7:30 and 8 p.m., we counted 21 men entering the plant.
That printing press, it's starting up.
Okay, let's move. Hey, Gross, you and Pacelli want to go through the back, and Ben and I'll take the front.
Right, let's go, Mike.
Come on. It's a neat setup. I had it all figured.
Yeah, you didn't spot any side entrances, did you?
No. Here we are.
Can you try the door?
Yeah, it's no good.
All right.
Who is it?
Police officers, open up. All right, come on, open up.
The press is up.
All right, let's hit it quick. Come on, again. There we go.
There they are, Joe.
They're trying to smash the plates. Come on.
Pacelli, save those plates!
Watch it, Ben. All right, come on.
All right, hold it.
Title against the wall. Hey, Gross, get those plates off the press, will you? All right, hold it, you two.
Now, Joe, look out!
All right.
Get the plates, Joe!
I round up those men and keep the doors covered.
Get away from those tables. Come on over to the wall. That's about most of them, Joe.
Those 2 men going out the door. Come on, head them off, will you?
Come on, you. Come on, back in. Get out. Wait, get your hands off her.
Hold it up, mister. Come on, over there with the rest.
You'll pay for this. I'll sue you down your last nick.
Yeah, come on, simmer down.
Hey, Joe, we got Rudolph going out the back.
Right. Call the office, will you? We're going to need transportation.
Okay.
Take those 2 with you, huh?
Right, come on.
Well, we got enough evidence against them.
Yeah, we're going to need it.
2 full pages of the junk right here.
Yeah.
Look. Right next to it.
Yeah. Page from the Bible.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 9th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 94, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, king-size Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Frank Rudolph and 16 of his accomplices were tried and convicted of possessing lewd and lascivious literature for the purpose of sale. They received sentences as prescribed by law and are now serving their terms in the county jail.
Remember this Saturday, because that means Dimension X on NBC.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the 4 walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
passenger aboard a submarine, making its last peaceful voyage across the sea. While unknown to you, the captain has a plan, which, if it succeeds, will mean for you and the entire crew a fate from which there can be no escape.
So listen now as Escape brings you Mary Ann Mosner and Francis Rosenwald's exciting story, The Log.
When I was a cub reporter, my boss told me, be there. Don't let your own emotions color your story. Stick to the facts. So, these are the facts. This is the way it happened. I met Captain Jan Zabatos in a Scandinavian port. During the last war, he'd been in command of a submarine, the only sub of a nation that fought the dictators side by side with the Allies. When he was finally forced into this neutral port, the captain preferred internment to surrender. After that, his nation went out of the business of being a nation. He was left behind with his ship, unwanted by the Allies, and a burden to the government that had become his permanent host. To pay for the vessel's berth and maintenance, the authorities turned her into a tourist exhibit, permitting her skipper to stay aboard as caretaker and tourist guide. We met during one of those guided tours.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the tour of the SS Seagull, a great ship with a peerless war record. It was my honor and privilege to guide her across hostile waters as master of this man of war that gave battle to the last torpedo. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you. You're very welcome all, and this way if you please.
You've got a few minutes, Captain? I'm Bill Rawlins, New York Globe. I enjoyed your tour a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Rawlins. Always glad to talk to gentlemen of the press. I presume you would like to write a story on the Seagull?
Well, to be honest about it, sir, I'd rather write about her skipper.
I am honored, but without the Seagull, you won't have much of a story. She and I are comrades in arms.
The war has been over a long time, Captain.
Yes. Yes, of course.
Haven't you ever thought of going home?
Mr. Rawlins, this is my home, and always will be.
As we walked across the deck, the Seagull came to life the way her skipper talked about her exploits at sea. And I saw 1,500 tons of steel that had never faltered, never failed. I was busy taking notes when the man came up the gangplank, stocky, brisk, dressed in a natty gray suit, a briefcase under his arm.
How do, gentlemen? Where do I find the man in charge?
I'm in command of the Seagull, Captain Jan Zabatos. What can I do for you?
The name's Andrews, Sage Picard. I represent the Liverpool office of the Marine Salvage and Surplus Corporation. Do you mind if I look around?
The next tour of the Seagull commences at 16 o'clock.
That's fine. You go right ahead. I know my way around ships. Bought and sold them all my life. This is my first time.
I'm afraid you must be mistaken, sir. The Seagull is not for sale.
Not anymore. My company just bought her. I closed the deal yesterday.
No, this can't be. Nobody has authority to sell my ship.
The government has, according to international law. This isn't your ship anymore, Captain. Do you realize what it costs his country to keep her docked here?
I suppose I knew that this was going to happen. Excuse me, sir, what does your company plan to do with the Seagull?
Scrap her. What else is she good for?
Yes, of course. What else? You plan to break her up here?
No, we'll have to tow her across to Liverpool.
Mr. Andrews, the Seagull is perfectly capable to sail under her own power.
All the way across the North Sea? No. It must be pretty rusty by now.
My ship is in as good condition as she was 10 years ago when we put in this port.
I know how you feel, Skipper, but if you don't mind, I'd rather play it safe.
No, I don't think I made myself clear, sir. This ship has had the finest maintenance that you find aboard any vessel. I have seen to that myself. Would you care to go below and look about, sir?
Sure, why not?
Then if you will follow me. Rust and corrosion, I will tell you.
She was a beauty, all right. Her diesels reposing in gleaming silence. Her eye, a Zeiss periscope, set to scan the horizon. Her tubes ready for torpedoes. I felt a strange affinity toward this ship that to Andrews meant just so many tons of metal to be turned into X amount of dollars. while to her captain she was a whole world of tradition. A world now coming to an end.
And still, I suppose you think that the Seagull should be dismantled and scrapped?
Well, I'm afraid that's what we bought her for.
Then may I respectfully make a last request on her behalf?
I'll be happy to oblige if it's anything reasonable.
Don't tow her away like a crippled ship. Let me guide her on this last journey. All we need is 1 week, a skeleton crew. My services are free.
I don't know. All right. I'll tell you what, Skipper. I'll check with my company and get in touch with you.
Well, that sounds like a good idea to me, Andrews. You'd be saving your company quite a bit of money.
My firm's allergic to taking chances.
You don't take chances with the Seagull.
The cold logic of the dollar in the bank, not the captain's last request, persuaded the scrap middleman to take a well-calculated risk on the Seagull and her master. Mr. Andrews was to accompany the ship on her final journey. I requested and was granted permission to go along and cover the voyage for my paper. It was a gray, overcast morning when we boarded the Seagull. She was straining gently at her anchors with the last of the ebb tide.
Well, Skipper hired a decent cook. Nothing like sea air to give a man an appetite.
I'm not looking forward to a picnic, Mr. Andrews. All I want is a story.
You won't find it in this barge, Rawlins. But I can give you plenty of stories. My company isn't averse to publicity.
When we reached the bridge, we found a changed man. Captain Jan Zabados, commander of the submarine Seagull, wearing a freshly creased uniform, windbreaker, and his well-worn battle cap.
Anchor secure, sir.
All engines back aft.
All engines back after.
Course 005.
005, sir.
Port engine back 2/3. Starboard engine ahead, standard.
Port engine back 2/3. Starboard engine ahead, standard, sir.
Stand by, all hands.
Standing by, sir.
Now. Well, gentlemen, we are off.
Chilly this morning, Skipper.
Perfect weather.
Makes you hungry anyway. What time do we...
Breakfast will be served in my quarters in 10 minutes, Mr. Andrews.
Come on down, Rawlins. Let's get some chow.
We had breakfast. It was better than Andrews had expected. And he was in an expansive mood when we returned to the bridge. He'd fortified himself with a thick cigar which stuck out of his mouth like a stubby finger pointed at the captain.
How's it going, Skipper?
Passing the 3-mile zone, sir.
Weather seems to be clearing up. Maybe we can do a little deep-sea fishing, huh, Rollins?
I've never fished from a submarine, Mr. Andrews.
Sorry, gentlemen. No fishing. This is not a pleasure cruise.
That's the step, Skipper. Business before pleasure.
And I agree, sir. You will leave the bridge now.
Why, what's wrong?
Nothing, sir. We are getting ready to submerge.
What are you talking about? Submerge? On whose orders?
My orders, Mr. Andrews.
Nothing doing. That's against regulations, and you know it. This trip is to be made on the surface unless there's an emergency.
Clear, diving rudders.
Diving rudders clear, sir.
Did you hear what I said?
Ready, the tanks.
And standing by, sir.
That's enough, Zabatos. You know what the orders are. I'm not going to allow you...
I must inform you, sir, that I am in sole command of the Seagull. I shall surrender her to no one but her rightful owner, my country.
Your country? You've got no country. It's a satellite.
Then I shall sail the seas until I have one again.
You know what you're saying? That's piracy.
Then, Mr. Andrews, I shall be a pirate, shan't I? Clear the deck. Diving stations.
Diving stations.
Off your mark.
Passengers below, please. Now that's an order, Mr. Andrews.
Standing by, sir.
Well, I'd found my story. When we slipped beneath the surface of the North Sea, the captain let the men have rum and brandy to celebrate the Seagull's return to what he called active duty.
He's crazy. He's gone stark raving crazy. The crew that madman picked himself. Well, we'll see about this. Hey, Bosun! Bosun! Come over here. Know how to handle this ship?
I know my job, sir.
How'd you like a bonus? Say $1,000.
I like it fine, sir.
All right. Take over. Never mind the captain. I'll back to work.
I'm sorry, sir. He's my captain.
I'm in charge of this ship. He's under my orders.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I'm under his orders.
That's how it went with the rest of the crew. They were all men without a country, handpicked by the captain, fanatically devoted to their master and the ship that was their world. In the meantime, I noticed some activity on the part of the captain and his radio operator. A constant flow of communications between the ship's wireless and their master's tiny cabin. Andrews and I went there. The captain was sitting on the bunk, poring over a chart-filled table.
Mind if you and I have a little talk? I'm quite busy. 5 minutes, Mr. Andrews. Thank you.
Don't you think this farce has gone far enough? You'll be running out of supplies, you know, and then what?
The sea is abundant with stores of all kinds, Mr. Andrews.
How do you mean?
I shall requisition what I need.
You can't be serious.
Can't I? I have guns, fore and aft, shells to go with them. Give me time, I shall obtain torpedoes as well.
You'll never get away with this.
That remains to be seen. My wireless has picked up the Blenheim Castle, an English freighter. We will sight her by nightfall.
You're going to stop her?
Exactly, Mr. Andrews. There are a few supplies that we need. I am sure her captain will oblige before continuing on his way.
We will return to Escape in just a moment, but first, maybe it rained where you are today. The United States is pretty big, and it's hard for somebody on a coast-to-coast network to keep track of the weather everywhere. But even if they did, remember, it's been a very dry summer. The danger of forest fires is on every hand. Please be careful with those campfires, those cigarettes, those lighted matches. And now, back to Escape.
Approximately 8 hours later, the bosun's pipe shrilled as the Seagull rose stealthily to the ocean surface. Dead ahead in a choppy sea loomed the massive hull of the freighter Blenheim Castle, her foaming nose eerily phosphorescent, the position lights glimmering across the sea. Our searchlight reached up to her bridge with a long white finger. We clearly made out the tanker's captain standing on his bridge in a splotch of white glare, bellowing through a megaphone.
Hey! Ho, 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 ho! Heave to! Coming alongside! Who are you? Raider! Pass a line! Raider! I won't talk a cow tail! Where's the war? It is starting now! That's a bloody lie! Heave away! Ready above, or you will be sunk! Why, you kettle-bottom, dumb-down half-fighter! I'll bust the cat close to the main water! Follow my orders, or I open fire! Why don't you back up and cook off? I give you 3 minutes. I'll give you a kick in the belly!
It was incredible. Here we were at peace, and Captain Zabatos had started his own private war. He had the guns, and the tanker's captain had only his ship. Before the Seagull's gun crew could get a bearing, the tanker lurched forward, picking up speed. Wheel hard over, bent on ramming us. Our guns started to fire, blasting away at the tanker. But it kept coming on. Closer, closer. The sharp bow cutting through the choppy sea.
Dive! 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 Dive!
We weren't fast enough. There was a grinding lurch. And we knew the Seagull had been damaged in the collision with the freighter, but we couldn't tell how badly. The first realization of disaster came when we saw the captain. His hair damp with perspiration, eyes gleaming feverishly, and a face turned ashen gray.
Nobody leaves his station without my orders. You gentlemen stay out of the way.
I'm not going to take orders from you or anybody else. I represent the owners of this ship.
You do?
You heard me, Zabatos.
Then tell your owner she has been rammed.
I'll hold you responsible.
As her commander, I accept sole responsibility for ship and crew, including you and Mr. Rollins.
That's very noble, mister, but I'm a businessman. What's the extent of the damage?
Conning tower smashed and the scope tube cracked.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, surface, send an SOS.
I never have sent an SOS, and I never will.
That's your business. I'm an American citizen, and so is Mr. Rollins. You can't hold us against our...
You will put ashore when conditions are favorable.
Let me set you straight about this. If you want to go down in misery, I'm not stopping you. But you can't force me to stick around until this thing can's full of holes. I want to get out of here. I order you for the last time surface to signal for help.
Andrews, if you wish to leave now, you may take a escape hatch.
You're crazy.
Not at all. The damage is trifling. But since you feel so frightened of your life, I suggest that you leave.
So help me, when we get out of this, I'm going to have you busted, jailed, hung if I can.
Get out of my way if you please. I have no time to discuss the matter with you.
Come on, Andrews.
Whose side are you on, anyway, Rollins?
Nobody's. I just want to live. The hours passed slowly at the ocean bottom. The stillness echoing the attempts of the men working to repair the damage. The air was getting foul. Breathing becoming more difficult.
Storage battery's going, sir.
Then dim the lights, bosun.
Oxygen's running low.
Ration it.
I've got 2 men in sick bay already.
All right. All right. Carry on.
Sir.
What is it, bosun?
The men need air. It's very bad aft.
All right. Very well, bosun. We go up. All engines ready.
All engines ready, sir.
Clear pressure tanks.
Clearing tank, sir.
Diving rudder. Standard.
Vessels approaching overhead, sir.
Ease rudder, hold tanks.
Surface vessel calling on out channel, sir.
Don't answer.
British subjects are closing in, sir. Request ship-to-ship communication.
All right. I talk to them. Stand by.
SS Seagull coming in. Go ahead. NS-127.
Are you in trouble, Seagull? No trouble, sir. Surface at once. State your conditions.
Enough.
Then I regretfully refuse her.
Following orders, Seagull. Come up, or we drop depth charges.
Do so, then.
You can't get away. We've got a sonar fix on you.
No surrender.
We're ready with depth charges, Seagull.
Wait! Get back! Americans down here! We need hot communications!
The first depth charge was a warning, followed by another coming closer. Still closer. The pressure was enormous. The ship rocked from bow to stern and started to take water.
All engines ahead full!
All engines ahead full, sir.
Course 02, standard.
Course 02, standard, sir.
Oh, quiet, Captain. This is wrong. It can't help now.
Stand out of my way, Mr. Rollins.
You're a naval officer, not a murderer. Your ship is finished. You have no right to kill your crew. And that's what it's going to mean if you don't stop.
This is my ship. My life. No, you don't understand.
It's still murder.
Standing by for your order, sir.
Well, what are you going to do?
Oh. Surface!
Surface!
Surface! Stand by, surface!
No response, sir. Tanks won't operate.
All engines stop!
All engines stop!
Now what?
I seem to have no choice. Do I? Stand by to abandon ship.
Abandon ship!
That was almost the end of it. The sub couldn't get up to the surface. She could only go down. And the way she was taking water, it wasn't going to be long. The men lined up outside the escape chamber. And one by one, they shook hands with the captain as they moved by. You could see in his eyes what they meant to him. And in their low voices, their feelings for him.
Goodbye, Captain. Goodbye, sir. Goodbye, Captain. Goodbye, Mr. King.
Goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, sir.
Then it was Andrew's turn to go.
The bosun is in the lock. He will give you your instructions as to how to get to the surface.
I lived through this, Apollos. I'm going to see...
I know. I am sorry for the discomfort you have been caused. Goodbye, Mr. Andrews.
Coming, Rollins? Sure. You go ahead. One at a time, you know.
Well, good luck.
And to you.
Now, Mr. Owens, huh? I imagine you will have quite a story to write for your newspaper.
Well, let's forget that. It's not important. What about you? Andrews isn't kidding, you know. Once you get up there...
I wonder if... Would you do me one last service?
Of course. He got his log out and started to write. I looked over his shoulder as he made his last entry. All men off ship. Strong list to port. Storage batteries 0. Oxygen 20. Ship secure. Signed Captain Jan Zabatos. Commander SS Seagull.
You oblige me by taking this log up with you. It can be fastened to your belt.
Well, why don't you carry it?
There are one or two other things I must take with me.
Now, look.
No, Mr. Owens, go on. I will follow you.
Yes,
please go on.
Okay. Hurry up, though, will you? She won't last long. I got up to the surface. A boat from the sub-chaser picked me up 5 minutes later. Every man of the crew and Andrews was safe. After that, we cruised about for hours, waiting, hoping that Zabatos would appear. But he didn't. I should have known he'd stay with the Seagull. The skipper of the chaser understood what had happened a lot better after he'd read the log. I guess seamen have a feeling about such things. Well, that's the story. That's all there is to it.
Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you The Log, a story by Marianne Mosner and Francis Rosenwald, starring Lawrence Dobkin and Byron Kane. Featured in the cast were Alan Reed, Kurt Martell, Frank Gerstle, Eric Snowden, Richard Peel, and Jim Messer. The special music for Escape was composed and conducted by Leith Stevens. Next week.
You are walking the streets of an Indian city. Terrifying, sweltering streets. While the man you fear has already made his mark on you. A mark from which there can be no escape.
So listen next week, when Escape will bring you James Henderson's frightening story, The Untouchable. I Confess is the graphic title of tomorrow night's Lux Radio Theater film play adaptation. Cary Grant and Phyllis Thaxter co-star. You'll remember I Confess as one of Alfred Hitchcock's most suspenseful thrillers, and you'll enjoy every minute of it on most of these same stations tomorrow night when CBS Radio presents the Lux Radio Theater. This is Roy Rowan speaking. Remember, you can hear Jack Benny every Sunday night on the CBS Radio Network.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. Vicious gunmen have committed assaults, robberies, attempted murders. Their victims, Army officers stationed in your city. Your job, get them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke king-size Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, enjoy Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild. Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, February 3rd. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working a night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 1:45 a.m. when we got to Highland Park Division. Booking desk. Hi, Shepard.
Hi, Friday, Ben.
Hi.
Brings you out here.
We've got one to book, Shep. You want to do the honor?
Okay. Just a minute. I'll only sharpen this pencil.
Right.
All right, Jackson. Take it easy.
Yeah. Relax, huh?
Jerks.
Okay. Yeah, let me get a new form in the machine. All right, what's your name?
Roy Jackson.
Address?
414 Alabama Street.
Age?
23.
Location of arrest?
1730 West Hill, the old Ranger Tavern.
Ranger Tavern. Time of arrest?
11:25 p.m. Charge. Suspicion 211 PC.
PC. Come on. Let's get this over with.
Hey, you got lots of time. Let's check your property.
All right, Jackson. Everything out of your pockets. Put them on the desk.
What about my kids?
You won't need them for a while. Put them on the desk.
There.
Oh, you forgot your watch. Take it off.
All right.
Yeah, that ring, too.
Yeah.
That everything?
I'll shake him down. Yeah, that's everything.
Okay, let me list it here. 1 brown man's wallet. Contents.
I'll call them off to you, huh?
Okay.
1 black pocket comb.
Comb.
Got that. 1 keychain and ring with 5 keys. Good luck charm on it.
5 keys. Good luck charm, yeah?
Let's see. There's 10, $11 and 63 cents in cash.
11.63.
1 man's wristwatch, Waltham. 1 man's ring. You got that?
Yeah.
Yellow metal, the ring.
Ring.
With a white stone.
It's a diamond ring. That's gold.
1 man's fountain pen.
Fountain pen.
That's it.
Yeah, okay. Just put all the stuff in the envelope. Okay. Get me a booking number, will you, Jimmy? Here's a receipt for your stuff, Jackson. Itemized.
Yeah.
And here's your copy, fella.
Thank you, Chef.
Murdoch.
Yes, Sergeant?
Got one for you.
You got a slip on it?
Yeah, here.
Thanks. Let's go.
Wait a minute. You got nothing else to say, huh, Jackson?
Been yapping at me for 2 hours. I told you all I'm going to tell you.
6 robberies, 6 assaults, 3 attempted murders. It's a tough rap to stand alone. What about your pals?
You got my story.
Okay, take them.
Stubborn.
Yeah.
We better get the arrest on the teletype.
All right. What? 2 a.m. It's a long day.
Oh, it's Thad Brown coming in the door.
Yeah.
Hi, Chief.
Hi.
What are you doing out here this time of the morning?
On my way home. Thought I'd drop by and call the office. Forgot something. What about Jackson? Do any good?
Not much. He's got a story. He's sticking to it.
Where'd you pick him up?
Bar on Hill Street. We booked him here. It's out of the way.
Jackson finger any of the gang?
No, questioned him 2 hours.
You think he got a smoke? No.
Yeah. Here you go.
Well, let's go in his office. Sit down there.
It's a good idea. My feet are killing me.
Pretty hard to figure this thing.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks. Gang of cheap hoods, armed to the teeth, slugging, shooting their way around town, coming from all directions.
We got it fairly well narrowed down, and 9 out of the 10 jobs they pulled, they operated either in San Pedro, the central area, or Hollenbeck. Still haven't any idea why they pick Army officers for their victims. Jackson wouldn't tell us why.
The MO still the same? They haven't switched?
Not a bit. The hold-up men still dress as Army enlisted men. They steal a car, offer rights to officers, slug them, rob them, and shoot them. Same thing, 10 times over.
Has the Army checked their personnel out at the fort?
Keeping tabs on as close as possible. I don't think it's the work of any bona fide enlisted men, though.
We'll haul out Jackson and talk to him again in the morning. Maybe he'll be ready to tell us something by then.
I'll stay after him. If you need any more men from Metropolitan to help out on this thing, let me know.
Okay, Skipper.
Better make that call and get home. Late.
Yeah.
What was it, code 3, Shep?
31st and Stafford, 211 and shooting.
Chief Brown, Ben, and I got to the scene at 2:20 a.m. An ambulance was already there, along with 2 cruiser cars and a half a dozen curious onlookers. Lying face down on the dirt road about 15 feet off Stanford Avenue was a man dressed in an Army officer's uniform. He wore first lieutenant bars. His blouse had been half ripped off, and the side of his face was bruised and swollen. The back of his head showed the results of a vicious beating. There were 2 bullet wounds in his left shoulder. A few feet away, sprawled out on his back, was a major. He'd been brutally beaten, but he was still conscious. While the ambulance attendants gave first aid, we questioned him briefly. Both bodies were lying 30 feet from the interurban railway tracks.
Feel up to telling us how it happened?
Hit me on the mouth. The gun. Can't talk too well.
No, don't try to get up, Major.
How's Lieutenant Kelly? He was with me.
He'll be okay. They're getting him in the ambulance.
We were hitchhiking downtown, Kelly and me. 2 men in a gray sedan picked us up. They said they were going back to the fort.
How were the men dressed? You remember?
Too much noise. What do you say?
Just a minute.
What was that?
The PE train going by. Now, can you tell us about it?
Enlisted men. One is a tech sergeant, and a private. He said they'd drive us back to the fort in a gray sedan, Pontiac.
Excuse me, Sergeant.
Oh, sure.
I'll have to take care of those space wounds. You can go ahead.
Okay. Did you see the license number on their car?
Too dark, no. Gray sedan. Pulled guns, stopped the car here. Took our money, everything.
That's so sting a little. Yeah, it's good.
You think you'd recognize the men if you saw them again?
One was tall, 6'2", I guess. Think I know him. They shot Kelly. He tried to run. They shot him. How is he?
He's okay. Is there anything else you can tell us about the men?
Ambulance is ready.
Well, take him. We can talk to him later.
All right, Rob.
Yeah.
All right, easy. Okay, let's go.
It's not getting any better.
I'd sure like to cut him up, don't they?
Pretty good set of footprints over there. Tire impressions. Better call the crime lab.
Yeah.
2 men in a gray sedan. How does that match up?
Same MO, Army officers.
So one of the gunmen was tall. Mean anything to you?
Well, most of the other victims gave us that description. Either the same tall guy works most of the jobs, or he's got a twin brother.
The stats office make a run on the description for you?
4 different times. Nothing yet.
I'd better get this new information on the air right away.
Yeah.
They steal a different car for every job, and the morning after we find the car, usually clean, no prints.
Well, this thing doesn't add up in my book. Army officers aren't loaded with... I said Army officers aren't loaded with dough. These punks are after something else besides money.
What do you mean?
Well, for every dollar they steal, they break a bone. How does that shape up to you?
You think they like to draw blood?
I think so. I think they're pointing for murder.
What's the motive, Chief?
Oh, forget the motives. I don't care what their reason is. Somebody's robbing and shooting. It's our job to stop them. What's the trouble with motives?
How do you mean?
They always show up after the murder.
2:40 a.m. The crime lab crew arrived and went to work searching the area for evidence and taking casts of the footprints and tire impressions. The chief of detectives, Ben, and I drove back to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital in time to watch the doctor remove 2 .38 caliber slugs from the shoulder of one of the victims. From his ID bracelet, he was identified as Harold Kelly, 1st Lieutenant Signal Corps, U.S. Army. The other victim was Major Richard Farmer, Signal Corps. I initialed the slugs for evidence, and then we drove back to the crime lab and dropped them off. The next morning, before they were transferred to a military hospital for further treatment, we talked with Lieutenant Kelly and Major Farmer, and filled out a robbery report and one for crime against person. At 5 minutes past 10, we checked back into robbery detail.
Better see if we can get a stenographer in here. There's a lot of paperwork to catch up on.
Yeah, I'm going to have to learn shorthand.
Well, Joe?
Yeah, Ed?
Come in a minute, will you?
Right.
They picked up a gray sedan using that job last night.
Where?
Out on Laguna, about a block from Echo Park.
They find anything?
Nothing. The boys from Leighton Fingerprints called just before you came in. They dusted the car inside out. No luck.
That Roy Jackson we picked up last night. Has homicide got the stakeout on his apartment?
Yeah. Fremont and Tetrick. Nothing yet. What'd you find out at the hospital this morning?
Well, we talked to Lieutenant Kelly and that Major Farmer again. They're still in bad shape.
You have anything to add?
No. We got their crime reports and a list of the property taken, gave it to a pawn shop detail to put on the stolen property list.
What are the hold-up men doing with all the stuff they grabbed? Watches, cigarette cases, men's jewelry? It's all on the stolen property list. Pawn shops have been alerted. It's not showing up. Robbery, Walker. Yeah, just a minute. You, Joe.
Oh, thank you. Friday. Yelly. Yeah. We'll meet it. Bye. Lee Jones. He just ran a make on the 2 slugs they took out of the lieutenant's shoulder.
Yeah?
They came from the same gun that wounded 4 of the other victims.
Figures. How about the footprint casts they took out there last night?
No, it didn't work out. Lee said he tried matching him up with that set of prints we came across on that job Sunday. There's no match.
Oh, hi, G.
Dad, sit down.
Thanks. Fellow man yet, Walker?
Not yet. Just going over last night's case.
What do you got?
Walker and I were talking over this morning before you 2 checked in about these hitchhike bandit jobs.
Yeah.
We tried everything short of a blockade to grab the hold-up men. It's obvious it's not working.
How about the Army brass?
They're doing all they can already. It's up to us. We're going to need more men and better coverage.
What are you figuring on?
System decoys planted around the city and every area these hitchhike bandits have been operating in.
Gonna take a lot of men, isn't it?
Be worth it if it pays off.
About 50 or 60 men should do it. They'll be dressed as second lieutenants all the way up to colonels. They'll travel in pairs.
Mm-hmm. They're going to bunk out at the fort?
If we can arrange it, yeah.
They'll be instructed to hitchhike their way around town. Bulk of them will operate between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m.
What kind of support are they going to have?
You men in robbery and homicide. I'll have a special detail of cars from Metropolitan Unit to help cover the unprotected spots.
When does it start?
Tonight. No use waiting.
You fellas might as well pass the word down the line. No time off till the gang's locked up.
Okay.
We got to get those punks and get them fast. We got the men and the machinery, so there's no reason for not stopping them. No excuses. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Excuse me.
Robbery, Walker. Oh, hello, dear.
Yeah, I know, but I can't make that.
Let's go, Joe.
We'll have to. You just go right ahead and we'll have to explain things.
Here.
What's that?
A nickel. Call yours. 8 p.m., Thursday. With the permission of the commanding general, 6th Army, a total of 55 men dressed as Army officers spread out over the city to serve as decoys for the hitchhiked bandits. They were well armed, and they traveled in pairs. For the first night, it was the plan to concentrate in the central area, Hollenbeck and San Pedro. We started cruising the central area at 8 o'clock along with the rest of the detail. The time went slow. Midnight came. Still no sign. We waited out the rest of the night and the early morning. Nothing happened. We figured on some action on the weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, nothing happened. Seemed like the hold-up men somehow had sensed the decoys and were staying under cover. Monday night, February the 8th, same thing all over again. 3 a.m. came and went. No sign. I'm kind of hungry. You want a hot dog? We can eat them in the car.
No, you go ahead. Maybe a bag of potato chips. You want to see if they got them?
Okay. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir. Want hot dog?
One. And give me a bag of those potato chips there, too. Will you please?
Okay. You want everything on that hot dog?
Everything but relish.
What's the matter? You don't like relish?
No.
Okay.
Joe, come on. Hustle.
You can skip that hot dog, Mac. What is it?
Just came in. Catch the repeat.
Attention all units. Attention all units. The vicinity of Washington, Figueroa. Shooting. Police. Ambulance.
Okay, hit the siren. Let's move. When we got to the scene, neither of the two victims were identified as police decoys. One of them had already been placed in the ambulance. Ben went over to talk to him. The second victim was still lying in the street, his chest riddled with bullet wounds. Two figures bent over him, an ambulance attendant and a priest.
That heavenly Jerusalem where God shall wipe away the tears from your eyes, where there shall be no more sorrow, no more sickness, no more death, where you will live forever in possession of that happiness which the eye hath not seen, nor the ear hath heard, neither hath it entered into the heart of man what things God hath prepared for them that love him.
Same set up, Joe. Hitchhike game. Yeah. Other victim can't help us much. How about this man?
Oh, wait a minute. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost. Amen.
There's your answer.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Miss Shirley Gelman, trained nurse in the city of Los Angeles, California, and this is her actual signed statement.
Hospitals are short-handed these days, and nurses are working under pressure. I've found king-size Fatima just perfect when I'm off duty. They're extra mild, and even in the wee hours of the morning, Fatima tastes just fine. I urge all my friends to buy them. I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy Fatima yourself.
The long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Wednesday, February 10th. At the inquest, the murder victim was identified as Marine Corps Lieutenant Robert Paul Lawrence, age 24. The bullets removed from the body at autopsy were taken to the crime lab where the ballistics men ran them through. They were fired from the same gun used in the previous hold-up shootings by the hitchhike bandits. The companion of the victim at the time of his murder could add little to what we already knew as far as the descriptions of the gunmen were concerned. The following morning, Ben and I drove out to the home of the murdered man to interview his father, a colonel, Marine Corps, retired.
Black wreath on the door.
Yeah. It's a big house, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir?
Police officer, sir. This is Sergeant Friday. I'm Sergeant Romero.
Oh, yes. I saw you the other day at the inquest.
Yes, sir. We hate to bother you again, but we'd like to ask you a few questions.
Yes. All right. Will you step in?
Thank you.
This way.
He was a small man, well-built, with thick snow-white hair combed straight back and a neat white mustache well-trimmed. He walked deliberately with his shoulders thrown back as he showed us into a large living room richly furnished. A picture of the Battle of Belleau Woods hung over the large fireplace. The rest of the pictures in the room were of famous Marine Corps officers.
Now, gentlemen, how can I help you?
It's about your son, Robert. We didn't want to bother you at the inquest.
Yes. I guess I don't have to tell you. Bob's death was a blow.
Yes, sir.
He's been staying here with me from time to time since my wife died last year. House this big needs people. Just myself, the wife gone.
Yes, sir. We'll only take a minute. You see, everything had been taken from your son, and we'd like to find out if you know what personal property he was carrying at the time he was...
Well, I don't know. I guess he had the usual things, a few dollars, his wallet, St. Christopher medal, silver, his watch.
Was the St. Christopher medal valuable?
Oh, not too much, no, not monetarily.
And that watch?
Well, yes, that was worth something, a pocket watch. I gave it to Robert when he was commissioned at Quantico. That's his graduation picture on the mantel. Here. This is Robert.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Fine boy, Sarge. Robert was a good Marine.
You think you could describe the watch for us?
Gold pocket watch. Cost quite a bit when I bought it for him. There's some engraving on the inside of the cover.
What is it?
Says, from an old Marine to a young one. Signed Dad.
Mm-hmm. Anything else about it, sir?
Very fine jeweler friend of mine made the watch. It has small chimes inside, and when you push the lever on the side, it chimes the hour and nearest quarter hour. Very clever.
Yes, sir, I see. And as far as you know, then, those are all the valuables he had with him.
Yes.
All right, Colonel Lawrence. Thanks very much.
Oh, you don't have to rush off. Can I fix you a cup of coffee? Stay a while, won't you?
I'm sorry, Colonel. We have to get back to the office.
Oh. Well, let me show you to the door. I hope I've been of some help to you. You're not feeling so well.
You've helped a lot, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Nice home. Yeah. Beautiful furniture. Everything a man could want.
Except the sun. For the next 6 days, we got nowhere. Both robbery and homicide details stayed at work on the case. The citywide decoy plan continued along with the extra night patrol of cruiser cars from the Metropolitan Division. Dozens of leads were received and tracked down. None of them paid off. We stayed on it, but despite all our work, in 1 week, the hitchhike bandits were credited with 16 car thefts, 8 actual holdups, and 3 more assaults with intent to commit murder. February 18th, 2 p.m. Ben and I were called to Captain Walker's office.
Close the door, will you, Ben?
Oh, yeah.
What is it, Ed?
Both of you know Burdick here, theft detail?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Hi. You want to tell him what you just told me, Burdick?
Yeah, I was just telling the captain. I was on night watch last night with Resnick, and we picked up this guy for grand theft auto. Got him out in a bowling alley on Vermont.
Yeah.
Well, Resnick and I didn't think too much about it. We took him into Central and had him booked. Gave his name as Clyde Black.
Mm-hmm.
As I say, I didn't think too much about it. But on the way into work, I got to thinking. This fellow comes pretty close to the description of one of your hitchhike bandits.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's pretty tall, 6'2", dark hair, dark eyes. Pretty tough.
Is he still in jail?
Still there.
Anybody else talk to him besides you?
Resnick and me, that's all. Here's the mug shot we got on him last night. Take a look.
Let me see.
Mm-hmm. It seems pretty close. You got a home address on him?
Yeah, our place out on South Flower. Here's the number.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah, there was something else. Struck me kind of funny.
What's that?
When we booked the guy in last night,
yeah,
in his back pocket, he had a St. Christopher medal.
Ben, Ed, Burdick, and I drove out to the address on South Flower Street, which the prisoner, Clyde Black, had listed as his home address. It was a rooming house, and the landlord remembered Black, but he hadn't lived there for 2 months. He gave us Black's forwarding address, an apartment on MacArthur Drive. There, the manager told us he hadn't lived in the building for at least a month. He had moved and left no forwarding address. We put tracers through on him with DMV, our business office, and with local merchants in the neighborhoods where he had lived. By 6:30 p.m., we had an answer. An apartment on Pico Boulevard, just east of Alvarado. At 7 o'clock, we were on our way up in the elevator to the 3rd floor of the apartment house.
It's number 307. Must be down this way.
Come on.
Pretty run-down place. Musty.
Yeah. This is it, 307.
Somebody's in there.
The apartments have back doors, Joe. You want me to cover it?
Yeah, you better hustle.
Right.
Okay. Stop talking.
Yeah, what is it?
Mailman, registered letter.
Okay.
Give me. Police officer.
Move your guys. Pops up, Joe.
Yeah.
Hey,
they're going out the back, Ben. Watch it.
Burdick's got him stopped out back.
All right, you now, cut it. Let me show you.
That's one of them.
One more, Joe, here. There were 3.
All right, let's go inside. Come on.
Yeah. That's all of them. Watch them, will you, Bertie?
Yeah.
All right, let's look around, huh?
Yeah. Take a look.
Yeah, enough uniforms for an army. Before we left the apartment, we searched it thoroughly and found dozens of personal valuables, watches, rings, and wallets. There was also a .38 caliber Colt. We took the 3 men downtown and booked them at Central Jail. Then we dropped off the gun that we found at the crime lab for a ballistics check. 8:35 p.m., we brought suspect Clyde Black to the interrogation room. Captain Walker, Ben, and I confronted him with the evidence.
Here you are, Black. Take a look at these.
Well?
They're not mine.
We know that.
Never saw them before.
Watches, jewelry, wallets, they were found in your apartment, all of them.
They were.
Take a close look.
Auto theft, that's all you got me on.
Yeah.
I won them. I won the stuff in the crap game.
You must be lucky.
Crap game, I tell you. That's how I got it, in the crap game.
Why not do it easy, Black? Let's call a stenographer and get it over with.
How much evidence do you want?
I didn't do it.
I get it. Interrogation room Friday. Yeah. All of them? Fine. Thank you. Your gun, Black. They checked it.
I didn't do it.
Your gun killed that Marine. Your prints are all over it.
It was one of the other guys, Max. Max. It was him. Him and Johnny.
You ready to dictate a statement?
Put them on the file. Why me? You talk to Max. Talk to Johnny.
Ed, hand me that, will you?
Yeah.
Here. Thanks. We got this watch out of your apartment, too, Black. Where'd you get this?
Which?
This one right here, the pocket watch.
I don't know.
Don't tell us you won it in the crap game.
It's not mine. I never saw it before.
It's a beautiful watch. It's engraving on the inside cover.
Yeah, look here. From an old Marine to a young one.
It's not mine.
Let me show you how it works. Push this lever here, see, on the side? Now, how about it?
I hated them. I hated all of them. Everything about them. That lieutenant. I had to kill him. He was going to get away. I had to kill him. I had to.
Why'd you pick on officers?
They had it coming. Pushing guys around. I hated them. I hated every lousy bone in their bodies.
I'll get the stenographer.
Yeah. Then knock off and go home. You too, Ben.
I had to kill him. I hated him. I'll tell them that. I'll tell them like I told you, just like I told you.
Yeah, they'll believe you, mister.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 17th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, king-size Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor, and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima, best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Clyde Black and the other 4 members of the Hitchhike Bandit gang were tried and convicted in Superior Court on 1 count of murder and several counts of robbery and assault with intent to commit murder. All 5 are now serving life terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
You're tuned for the stars on NBC.
My name's Regan. I work for Anthony J. Lyon Detective Bureau. They call me the Lion's Eye.
Wednesday at 9, and CBS brings you Jeff Regan, Investigator, starring Paul Dubov as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. So stand by for mystery and suspense and adventure in tonight's story titled, It All Comes Back to Me Now.
She was about medium-sized, brunette, beautiful, and bewildered. She couldn't remember where she'd come from or where she was going. Couldn't remember her own name. Just one thing she could remember. She wanted to commit murder. She was in the office of my boss, Anthony J. Lyon, that Friday morning, sitting there across the desk from him, holding onto her battered purse like it was the last thing in the world she was sure of. What the Lion or I didn't know, she was right.
Oh, Jeffrey, come in. I've been waiting for you.
Morning, Fatso. New client?
Yes, Jeffrey. I think we could call her that. Jeffrey, this is Miss...
That's a very interesting name, Fatso. My name's Regan, Miss.
How do you do, Mr. Regan?
Jeffrey, she has a terrible problem.
Somebody does.
She can't remember her name.
Please, can't you help me? I don't remember anything.
You remember how you got here to our office?
No, not anything.
From when?
From now. Except, there was a door. It said detective agency. I walked in.
Yes. Jeffrey, what are we going to do about Miss Smith?
Smith?
Well, we've got to call her something, haven't we?
All right, Smith.
Jeffrey, this is a matter for the police. The Bureau of Missing Persons. Surely...
No, Mr. Lyon, please. Not the police.
What's that?
Oh, please, Mr. Regan, please don't let him call the police.
People who can't remember their names usually can't remember they shouldn't go to the police, Miss Smith.
But Oh.
Look, lady, if you don't want to go to the cops, there's got to be a reason.
Well, then, look at this.
Jeffrey.
.32 caliber revolver, Smith & Wesson. Loaded except for 2 empty shells.
You see, Mr. Regan.
The gun's been fired, Jeffrey?
2 bullets missing. Miss Smith?
I don't know.
Jeffrey, that settles it. We call
Lion, I think Miss Smith hasn't quite finished her story. The gun in her purse isn't the only reason she doesn't want to go to the police. Is that right, Miss Smith?
Mr. Regan, I try to remember. There was a house somewhere. A small house. I was in a room with...
Go on.
No, I can't.
Keep trying, Miss Smith.
I was going somewhere. Alone. I wanted to see someone. I think I was on my way to kill someone.
Patso, get some water. She's fainted.
Here, water? Jeffrey, don't just stand there. Call an ambulance.
The Lion was right. Miss Smith wasn't just a quick faint. Her breath came in short, hushed spurts, and her pulse was a whisper. Beside her, the battered little purse had fallen open. Inside, $2.17 and a receipt for cab fare. No wallet, no identification. I picked up the receipt. It was dated that morning, Friday, and totaled $3.70. It was a lead. I sent the Lion with Miss Smith in the ambulance and then headed for the main office of the cab company. It took me 2 hours to get what I wanted. The receipt was for cab number 702, one of the new cars the company added, and it was usually driven by one Joseph Rupnick. Another hour passed, and he pulled into the cab stand out front of the main office. Joe Rupnick?
Who else?
Let's drive.
I'm glad you're down. Where to, Mac?
Did you drive a medium-sized brunette this morning, Joe?
Oh, it'd be a pleasure.
Think. Fair complexion, good-looking, very good-looking. Carried a little black leather purse. The fare was $3.70.
$3.70, huh? You know, it's a nice fare.
What'll it buy, $3.70?
Well, let's see. $3.70 should ought to take you out to Westwood.
You got a record of your stops today. What about Westwood?
Yeah, I guess I have. Hey, Mac, what do you know? She was lovely, she was engaged, and she used my cab. Oh, what a dish. Bewitched, bothered, and brunette. I seen her, and I'm glad.
Never mind the tone poems. Where did you pick her up?
In Westwood. Where else?
Okay, let's go there.
This is it, Mac. Right here on this corner. She was standing here. Naturally, I stopped.
Naturally. Thanks. See you around.
No, you're welcome, but I'm staying.
Staying where?
Now, look, right here, Mac. Look. You don't have to be a mind reader to spot you for a private eye, shamus, or gumshoe. This means the jackpot. My cab is at your service.
That's your business, Joe. Only keep your flag up.
Shouldn't worry about a thing. Besides, when else do I get a chance to check the horses at Tanforan?
Joe Rupnick pulled a racing form out of his pocket, and I looked at the place he pointed out. According to Joe, Miss Smith had been standing in front of a white one-story building with a two-story sign that said Parker's Service. It was an auto repair shop, a big one, the kind that specializes in foreign cars, custom sedans, and rich customers.
Mr. Parker. Telephone call, Mr. Parker. Yes, sir? And what can I do for you, sir?
I'm looking for a girl. She used to work here.
Sarah? You're looking for Sarah?
About medium-sized, good-looking?
Yeah, that's Sarah. Well, she quit yesterday. She was in here this morning to pick up her check. Me, I'm just taking her place. And it's not a bad job. Not bad at all. Mr. Parker, he's a nice guy. A very nice...
Could you give...
pardon me just a moment, please. Parker's Service? Yeah, just a moment, please.
Could you give me Sarah's address?
Huh?
Could you give me Sarah's address?
Well, I could check for you. You see, I'm new here at
Sure. By the way, what's Sarah's last name? I've forgotten.
Sarah Hanson. So you didn't know her very well, did you?
Line date.
Oh, yeah. I understand. And she forgot to give you her address. Sure, I'll find out for you, mister. Glad to.
The girl behind the counter winked at me and went back into the office, and before I could turn around, there was somebody at my elbow. And I had that feeling you get when you know someone's staring down your neck. I turned, and I was right. Tall man, neatly dressed, business suit, about 35. Suntan that spelled 18 holes of golf on Sunday, private club, Chamber of Commerce.
I beg your pardon, sir. Did I overhear you asking for Sarah Hanson?
Maybe you did.
My name's Parker.
Mine's Regan.
I wonder if you'd be kind enough to step into my office.
Okay.
This way, Mr. Regan. You see, I happen to be particularly interested in a girl, Miss Hanson. She's unusually intelligent, a superior worker. I hated to see her leave. Here we are, Mr. Regan. Have a chair. A cigarette?
No, thanks. Let's stick to Miss Hanson.
Oh, yes, Mr. Regan. I was quite curious at your interest in Sarah Hanson. She's not the sort of girl to have many, shall we say, gentlemen friends.
Really? What sort of girl is she?
Well, more on the quiet side. Intelligent, as I've said, and not at all emotional. Sarah was a very
superior worker. Come on, Parker. I haven't got all day. A girl quit her job and you want to know why. Is that it?
Well, I'm curious.
There's more to it than that. I saw 4 secretaries in your front office alone. One named Sarah wasn't that good.
Very well, Mr. Regan. I'm going to tell you the truth. Certain malcontents, certain vicious elements in my organization, irresponsible rumor mongers have been saying that Miss Benson and I... Well, there isn't a word of truth in it.
I'm still listening.
I'm a happily married man, Mr. Regan. You understand what rumors of this sort do to a man.
Go on.
I'm going to put a stop to it. You understand? Once and for all,
Okay. Take it easy, Parker.
I'm sorry I lost my temper, Mr. Regan. This thing has been gnawing at me for months. That's why I finally discharged Miss Hanson.
That's what you've been trying to say. You fired Sarah Hanson. You think that's why I'm here?
Well, yes,
It's just a job, Mr. Parker. We all got to make a living. Somewhere in it, a story was beginning to take shape. Parker apologized again, and I left his private office. Out front, the receptionist had Sarah Hanson's address, and I took it. When I got to the street, Joe Rupnick's cab was still sitting there.
Hop in, Mac. I'm available. You find the gun?
No, but I've got an address.
Great. I got them all lined up for tomorrow at Tan Ferran. Let's go.
It was past Pico on Bentley. Took us 5 minutes to pull up in front of a bungalow converted into a duplex. I left Joe with his racing form and newspaper and went up to the door that belonged to Sarah Hanson. I rang the doorbell. No answer. I knocked. Same results. The sun was sinking somewhere in the distance, and the early mist, the prelude to fog, was settling in fast. I tried the doorknob. No results. And then something told me to get inside that apartment, to get in with or without a permit, with or without a key. I walked around back until I found a window unlocked. The screen was easy, and I climbed up. My stomach scraped across the windowsill, and I was inside. Dark, dank, stale-smelling air. Something foul and disagreeable. I wanted to turn and leave and get out of the stinking apartment. But I didn't. Instead, I moved slowly along the wall in the darkness and fumbled until I hit the light switch. The lights didn't change the smell, but it told a story. Chairs upside down. Picture frame smashed to the floor. 2 dishes broken in 1,000 pieces. And the sofa cushions on top of each other in a corner. The whole place turned upside down, looking like a clapboard shack after a hurricane. I moved into the living room, picking up pieces, searching for anything. And I found something. In front of the imitation fireplace on the carpet, a pool of blood.
Hey, Mac. You okay?
Yeah, Joe.
Look, Mac, I think I got something important.
Be there in a minute.
Never mind. I'll climb through the window. Hey, look, Mac, I want you to take a look at this. I was reading while I was waiting for you.
Early edition of the afternoon paper.
Yeah. Look on page 2. You find it, Mac?
Yeah, I found it. Story on page 2. The body of a girl found washed up on Will Rogers State Beach, tentatively identified as Sarah Hanson.
This is CBS, and you are listening to tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator, entitled It All Comes Back to Me Now. CBS brings you many of the most exciting programs on the air. For example, Sundays at 5:30. A Face in the Shadows, a blood-stained burnoose, a beautiful dancing girl may set Rocky Jordan on an exciting adventure in ancient Cairo. Follow Rocky Jordan as he moves through the dangerous streets of the capital of Egypt. Meet Rocky Jordan this Sunday at 5:30 on CBS. And now, back to tonight's story titled, It All Comes Back to Me Now, and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Joe, the cab driver, stepped on the gas, and we headed for the police. I sat in the back seat, the folded newspaper in my lap, and tried to make sense out of a story so twisted even the principal characters no longer made sense. A girl with amnesia hires the lion and me to help her find herself. She says she remembered wanting to kill someone. She collapses, and I follow a lead to a cab driver, to a repair shop in Westwood, to the home of one Sarah Benson. That was when I read the early afternoon paper which said a girl had been found washed up on Will Rogers State Beach. Her name, Sarah Hansen. It was getting late. Streetlights turned on, traffic jamming and honking its way up Sunset. But that didn't stop Joe Rupnick from hitting 40 between the cars. We made the police station at 6:45. Okay, thanks, Joe. That does it.
What do you think, I'm leaving? Me, a sucker for a mystery? I gotta know how this comes out.
It took me 15 minutes to get to Lieutenant Candid.
Hi, Regan.
Candid, I got a couple of questions.
Regan, I am tired to the very bottom of my large, flat feet. Let's make it tomorrow.
It can't wait.
All right, Regan. What's her name?
Listen, Candid, all I want to know is where you got your identification for Sarah Hansen.
Sarah Hansen, age 27, height 5'4", weight about 117, hair blonde, eyes brown.
Blonde.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
You fished her up off Santa Monica?
Will Rogers State Beach. We didn't find her. Some swimmers did. They called.
You weren't looking for her?
Looking. We didn't know Sarah Hansen from my friend Irma. What's eating you, Regan?
Candid, just tell me something else. Who identified the girl for you?
Only her mother and father and brother and sister, that's all.
Okay, Candid. Sorry I bothered you.
It's all right. We can't find the murder weapon. We haven't got a lead on the killer, and I got to talk to you yet.
She was shot?
2 slugs in her chest. 32s. Maybe Smith & Wesson. Gun's missing.
That part of it wasn't in the papers.
Don't we look bad enough already without making it worse? All we got on this case is a body. Even if it is a nice one.
When was she killed, Candid?
This morning, somewhere between 1 and 2 a.m., the coroner says. That isn't all.
What else?
Well, from the tire marks they found up the beach, there was another idea. We think maybe she was shot somewhere else and then driven down to the beach.
This Sarah Hansen, she worked?
Yeah, a place out in Westwood. Called, Parker's Service. We'll check everyone out there. Takes time.
What about an address, Candid? Where did she live?
Well, the parents say she moved out of their place a couple of months ago. Seems they had a fight, she and the parents. She wouldn't tell them where she was moving.
They tell you anything else?
Sarah Hansen was afraid of something, they said. Had them worried. That's when the fight started. She used to get phone calls from a woman.
A woman?
Yeah, every time this woman called, Sarah would leave the phone crying. Only happened a couple of times.
Did they ever see this woman?
Nope. They were wondering if it might be another girl who worked with Sarah. Feud.
Only you haven't checked the employees yet.
Like I said, Regan, it takes time. The shop opens up first thing in the morning. My men will be there.
Thanks, Candid. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Regan, where do you fit in this?
Client, Candid. You know how it is.
Maybe I don't, Regan. If you know something...
I don't know anything, Candid.
You wouldn't lie to me, would you? Sarah Hansen was a good-looking dame. A real good-looking dame.
I never met her.
You sure, Regan?
I'm sure.
Okay, I'll take your word. She's a real nice-looking dame, like I said. Kind you hate to see turn up. dead. You want to see her, Regan?
All right, Candid. We'll see her. Candid and I went to the morgue. We saw her. Sarah Hansen. Medium-sized, good-looking blonde. She looked nothing like the girl who'd come to the Lyons office without a memory. Yet somewhere Sarah Hansen and Miss Smith fit together. Somewhere their lives became crossed and tangled up and then went separately again. Miss Smith's to a blank memory. Sarah Hansen's to death. Somewhere something made both things happen. That gave me an idea. I went upstairs to Missing Persons and checked every record I could find that even faintly resembled our client, Miss Smith. Nothing did. I headed outside. Joe Rupnick was still sitting in the taxi. He turned it around, and we headed for the L.A. County Hospital.
Jeffrey, there you are.
Trouble, Fatso?
Trouble. I've been sitting here all day, wasting time and money.
How's she doing, Fatso?
Is she? Oh, Miss Smith, fine. She's doing fine. Doctor says she was merely weak from too much tension brought on by the amnesia.
Good, Lion. I think we may have something.
We may have something. You're darn right we have something. Hospital bills, doctors, nurses' bills. Every time the door opens to that girl's room, I add another $5. Jeffrey, this is ridiculous. We're not Fort Knox. How do you think the Lion Detective Agency can pay for
Take
these
it
bills?
easy, Fatso. Remember, it was your idea to bring Miss Smith here.
So what if it was my idea?
That's right, Lion. You call the ambulance.
Well, that's no reason why we have to pay.
Mr. Lyon, I'll have to ask you not to raise your voice.
Yes, Miss Wilson. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Lyon.
Yes.
Sitting here all day, wasting your time.
Oh, now, Jeffrey, after all, a man has to do something.
Sure, Fatso. You keep an eye on those nurses' bills. I'm going in to see our client. Miss Smith was lying there, pale face made paler by the whiteness of the sheets, the white hospital walls, the clinical smell of the room. You don't have to be sick to look sick in a hospital bed.
Oh. Hello, Mr. Regan.
You remember me?
You helped me, Mr. Regan. I won't forget that.
What does the doctor say?
Oh, I'll be all right. Really, I will. It's just my mind. I can't think straight.
But you remember about the gun, the 2 bullets missing?
Yes. Yes, I remember about them.
Do you remember anything more?
I don't think so.
About wanting to kill someone?
Oh, Mr. Regan.
You don't remember that part of it?
The doctor says it's shock. Something happened to me. Something I wanted to forget. Made me forget everything.
Murder might do that.
Yes, I suppose it might.
Does the name Parker mean anything to you?
No.
Parker Service, Westwood?
No, Mr. Regan.
How about Sarah Hansen?
No, Mr. Regan, I don't know that name.
Sarah Hansen, a blonde, pretty blonde.
No, I don't remember.
You worked for Parker Service in Westwood. You were in Westwood today. Maybe at a small apartment on Bentley just past Pico. That mean anything to you, Miss Smith?
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Okay, thanks. Thanks anyway.
Please leave me alone. Mr. Regan, leave me alone.
Somewhere the paths of Sarah Hansen and Miss Smith crossed. Somewhere their lives were woven in and out of each other until it was so mixed up. And then it made sense. Simple, quick, easy sense. I left the hospital in a hurry. The cab was there, and I got in, and we drove and drove fast. First for a drugstore and a phone booth, then for Westwood.
Look, Mac, now that we're here, what are we doing here?
Visiting Joe.
Yeah, don't sound friendly somehow.
You sit tight. I'm going in.
Look, that house is dark. Nobody's home, Mac.
Maybe, maybe not. If I'm not out in 10 minutes, get to a phone and call the police. You got that?
Yeah. Call the cops.
It was 50 feet back from the street. Not a mansion, not a little house. Grounds well kept, lawn neat and trimmed. I moved slowly up the walk toward the front door. The fog had settled on Westwood Village, and the soft dampness sifted under your clothes, made your skin turn cold. Up ahead, the dark house, waiting. I changed my mind, moved along the side of the house toward the fireplace. That might mean den, and the den might mean proof. Around back, a patio and French doors next to the red brick. Still no sounds from the dark house. I tried the French doors. It was the den. Books, heavy leather chair and desk. On the desk a photograph, too dark to see. I picked up the metal frame and lit a match. It fit. The final nail in a murderer's coffin.
You like the photograph? Get your hands off your gun, Mr. Regan. That's better. Only one of us needs a gun just now.
Just you, Parker.
The photograph is almost a perfect likeness, isn't it? Beautiful woman.
But not beautiful enough for you, was that it?
Beautiful but possessive. She didn't understand me.
And Sarah Hanson did.
Jane killed her.
So that's her name, Jane Parker.
Too bad you've never met her, Mr. Regan.
I've met her, Parker. In fact, I just left her less than 30 minutes ago.
It's a lie. You've never met my...
Your wife, Jane Parker. She asked for help.
Regan, you're lying.
You tell me a better story. Where is your wife?
I don't know.
But you'd like to, wouldn't you? You'd like to know so you could see her once more, so you could see her and shut her up.
She told you.
Did you kill Sarah Hanson?
She was lying. She killed Sarah. There was a fight. Jane killed her in a jealous rage.
And you're going to try to tell me Jane carried Sarah Hanson to her car, then took her to the beach, and then threw her body in the...
I left. I don't know what happened. It was Jane.
Jane carried a woman her size down to the ocean. Who do you think you can make believe that?
You're lying.
I'll tell you what really happened. Jane found out you were running around with another woman, Sarah Hanson. She phoned Sarah, tried to reason with her. Your wife was dumb enough to want to keep you. When Sarah wouldn't listen to reason, your wife went to see her.
You don't know what you're talking about.
She found you at Sarah Hanson's apartment on Bentley. There was a fight. You lost your temper, Parker. Only a man your size could have wrecked the place the way it is now.
No.
You shot and killed Sarah, and the shock was too much for your wife.
No.
Her mind went blank, went completely blank, rather than remember the nightmare she'd seen.
How do you know?
How? Because I know where your wife, Jane Parker, is right now.
She didn't tell you that. She wouldn't dare tell you.
Your wife disappeared after the shooting early this morning, didn't she, Parker? You didn't know where she'd gone. That's what you really wanted to find out from me when I was at your shop this afternoon.
You're making that up.
You were afraid then, and you're afraid now. Yet you didn't report to the police that your wife was missing. I checked that. You didn't want them to find her either. She could tell the real story.
Where is Jane, Mr. Regan?
You're wasting time.
Unless you tell me where my wife is, Mr. Regan, I'll put every bullet in this gun through your body.
And that still wouldn't stop your wife from talking, would it, Parker? That still wouldn't give you the answer to where she is now.
Tell me, Regan.
Go ahead. Shoot, Parker. Shoot and read the morning papers tomorrow. The headlines will tell how every cop on the West Coast is waiting to shoot you on sight.
Regan!
So you won't need that gun.
Let go!
You pulled the trigger on yourself, Parker. Too bad your aim wasn't better.
Dr. Dana. Dr. Stephen Dana.
$16 a day for room. A private nurse.
Hiya, Fatso.
No, don't bother me, Jeffrey. I'm very busy. A room at $16 a day.
How's our client, Lion? She doing okay?
$16 a day. Yeah, what's that, Jeffrey?
Miss Smith, our client.
Oh, you mean Jane Parker. Oh, why didn't you say so, Jeffrey? She's much better. The doctor says it'll take time, though. Let me see now. If you take 16 divided
He thinks
by...
you'll get her memory back, Lion.
What? Oh, yes. He thinks it's just a matter of time. Mental block, that sort of thing. Very complicated, you understand. Oh, hey, Jeffrey, it's been a long day. You must be tired.
I am a little. Come on, Fatso, I'll drive you home.
Me? Go home? No, you just run on, Jeffrey. I really couldn't leave just yet. You see, I've got it figured so the city will have to pay for the hospital.
You can figure that out at home, Fatso. You look tired.
Well, no. You see, Jeffrey, I'd better stay right here, where I can get the cost firsthand. That way I'll have it accurate when I charge the city. You know me, Jeffrey. Business before pleasure.
Oh, yes, business before pleasure.
Yes, I'm not satisfied until I've completely finished the case. You look peaked, boy. You run along, get some sleep. Me, well, I'll just sit here and work Finish my job.
I'm all ready, Mr. Lyon, if you are.
Yeah.
The night supervisor said it would be all right if I left early.
Yeah.
Isn't that just grand?
Yeah. Well, good night, Jeffrey.
Good night, Fatso.
Jeff Regan, Investigator, was written tonight by William Frug, produced and directed by Sterling Tracy, and stars Paul Dubov as Regan with Frank Nelson as Anthony J. Lyon. Original music is by Dick Arant. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard each week at the same time over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to accident investigation, felony detail. In the early hours of the morning, a woman pedestrian is struck down by a hit-and-run driver. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke king-size Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, enjoy Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles, travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, September 4th. It was hot in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of traffic division. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Sullivan, Commander AID. My name's Friday. It was 12:45 a.m. when I got to the second floor at 123 South Figueroa Street. Accident investigation. The Record Bureau. Hi, Wanda.
Hi. Sergeant Romero come back with you? I got a phone message for him.
So he's over at Georgia Street. He'll be back in a couple of minutes. You got time to take a 15-7?
Sure.
I got some additional information on a hit-and-run felony.
All right.
Pretty warm up here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. The coffee over there if you want it.
No, thanks.
All right, officer's memo. Subject?
Investigation of hit-run felony. DR number 467923. Location, 7th and Carondelet Streets. Carondelet.
Mm-hmm.
September 3rd, 11:15 p.m.
Division reporting, AID. Division of occurrence?
Central.
Hmm?
Central.
Date and time occurred, September 3rd, 11:15 p.m. Location of occurrence, 7th and Carondelet. Is this going to run long, Sergeant?
Oh, page and a half.
Go faster in shorthand. I can transcribe it later.
All right. Excuse me. This is for Captain H.W. Sullivan, commanding AID.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, on the above date at 11:20 p.m., the undersigned officers went to the corner of 7th and Carondelet Streets in response to an ambulance follow-up traffic.
Mm-hmm.
On our arrival there... You got any matches, Wanda?
Yeah, here.
Okay, thanks. On our arrival there, we were met by 11T. We witnessed Ambulance attendants placing an unconscious woman in an ambulance. She appeared to be critically injured. The victim was removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital.
All right.
We then interviewed a man who identified himself as Chester J. Crawford, 540 Green Oak Drive. He stated that he was acquainted with the injured woman and that her name was Sheila Gordon, Gordon, 7832.5 7th Street. Crawford told us that he was taking her home from a dance. And they arrived at the intersection of 7th and Carondelet Streets at approximately 11:15 p.m.
11:15.
Okay?
Yeah.
Crawford further stated that while he and Sheila Gordon attempted to cross the intersection, an automobile headed west on 7th Street went through the red traffic light.
Right.
Did you read that last part back?
Attempted to cross the intersection. An automobile headed west on 7th Street went through the red traffic light.
Okay. Crawford told us that he jumped out of the path of the car and tried to pull Miss Gordon with him. He said that the car struck her down without slowing down, continued out 7th Street, and disappeared.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And disappeared. Okay.
Crawford stated the hit-and-run car was either a Dodge or a Plymouth, but it could have been either last year's model or this year's. He described the car... That's too fast, boy?
That's all right.
He described the car as either light blue in color or bluish green. Said that he failed to get the entire license number, but that the last three numbers on the rear plate were either 804 or 304.
804 or 304.
That's right.
Okay.
Fine. Crawford said he made an attempt to follow the hit-run car, but that he was unable to obtain transportation. He stated he then ran to a phone at the Corsev Bar and Grill.
Spell that?
What?
Corsev.
Oh, Corsev. That's at 7th and Carondelet, and called the police. And the undersigned officers then obtained Crawford's full name, address, phone number, and proceeded to question residents in the neighborhood and were unable to locate any other witnesses besides Crawford.
Okay.
Hi. How'd you do?
Oh, sorry, that's about all. Doctor says we won't be able to talk to her for at least a couple of days, maybe not at all.
What's your chances?
50-50 if she's heavy on luck. 3 broken ribs, brain concussion, internal injury.
What Lee Jones had to say?
Is that all the report, Sergeant?
Oh, yeah, Wanda. We'll have the rest for you a little later. Thank you.
Okay. I'll type this much up as soon as I can.
Thanks.
Sure.
What Lee Jones had to say?
Nothing. He and Fincher went over the area for an hour. No broken glass from headlights at the PI. No tire impressions worth anything.
No physical evidence.
Where does it leave us?
With a half-dead girl and no suspects.
What do you think, Joe?
I don't know. It's a sour one.
Any kickback on the teletype yet?
No.
That guy she was with, Crawford, not too much help. Looked a little nearsighted to me.
He saw well enough to get out of the way of that car.
You got the notes. How much to give us?
Let's see. I got it here in the book. Car was either a Dodge or a Plymouth, late model. Color, either light blue or blue-green. And the last 3 numbers on the license plate were 804 or 304.
It's a big field to pick from.
That's the only lead we own.
You can call it that, yeah.
Well, I guess we better talk to DMV, get the dope on all cars fitting that description that Crawford gave us.
It's going to be a hard trip. At least 3,000 cars to track down.
Probably closer to 4.
What do we do for help?
We can ask the captain in the morning.
I'll get it. Okay. Racket Bureau, Romero. Got it. Yeah, we'll bring him right over. Yeah, bye. Lee Jones again.
Yeah?
Says he wants the clothes Sheila Gordon was wearing at the time of the accident. He figures when she got hit, her clothes must have left fabric marks on the front of the car.
Well, it might work. There's only one trouble.
What's that?
You can paint off fabric marks. Well, it's a long list. Let's take it from the top.
Yeah.
Find the car. Tuesday, September the 5th. We called Mark Benson at DMV and asked for full information on all vehicles fitting the general description of the hit-run car. We went back and talked to the only witness to the hit-and-run, the victim's boyfriend, Chester Crawford. He could add nothing to what he had already told us. There was no response to the local teletype and the all points that were sent out the night before. Garages, auto repair, and paint shops throughout the city were also alerted. Meantime, at General Hospital, the victim, Sheila Gordon, was still close to death. The search for the hit-run car went on. 2 days passed. Thursday, September 7th, the information we requested from DMV was being checked out and compiled. Ben and I met with Captain Sullivan.
That's the last of them, Skipper. All the cars in this area that fit the general description of the one we're after.
You just get it?
Yeah.
How many cars did they list?
4,620.
Even more than you expected, eh?
Yeah.
No chance at all of narrowing it down?
None that we can see, no.
Terrific order.
Well, we tried to figure it from every angle. Now we can do it two ways.
Yeah?
We keep the alert on for the hit-run car around the divisions, all the garages in town, the auto repair shops. In other words, we can wait it out. Maybe we'll get the guy, maybe not.
Yeah?
Or we can check out every one of the cars on this list and the registered owners.
Well, the first way isn't going to do the job. We know that. 4,600 cars. How much help will you need?
About 30, 40 men.
How long?
A couple of weeks, maybe more.
All right. I think I can get them from Metro Division. When do you want to start?
First thing tomorrow.
Okay, I'll set it up.
All right, Skipper.
Thanks. Excuse me, Joe. There's a lady out here to see you.
Okay, thanks. We'll check you in the morning, Skipper.
Right. That's her over there.
Thanks. My name's Friday, ma'am. This is Sergeant Romero.
How do you do? I'm Dora Lytell, Sergeant. I'm Sheila Gordon's landlady, the girl in the accident.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Crawford, he was with Sheila that night. He told me about you, and he said he thought you might be able to help.
How do you mean?
Well, it's a long story. See, when Sheila Gordon first came to live at my rooming house, she was a good girl like the rest. Lately, well, her being sick now and all, I don't like to say it.
Yeah?
Well, frankly, last few months before the accident, Sheila just went bad completely.
I don't think I follow you, ma'am.
Oh, you know, carousing, all kinds of men, visitors, had a different man in her apartment every night.
Well, we're investigating a hit-run case, ma'am.
Sheila gets out of the hospital. We could talk about her when she's sick like this, but when she's all right, I don't want her back in my rooming house.
I'm afraid that's none of our business either, ma'am.
But if you could talk to Sheila, persuade her to move from my house, I don't want any wrangle with the rental board again. Couldn't you talk to her?
I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do, ma'am. You better talk to her yourself.
It'll just be another row like the last time. Shameless woman. I don't want Sheila Gordon back in my house. I'll go to that hospital myself and tell her.
She's a pretty sick girl.
It's not my fault. Go right over to that hospital and tell her what I think of her.
She's hurt pretty bad.
So am I. She's hurt me. What's the difference?
You haven't been run over by a car. Next morning, Sergeants Reed and McLennan, Ben, and myself joined the 40 men from Metropolitan Division who had started checking out the first of the 4,620 suspected cars. The detail was broken down into teams, and each team was handed a list containing the names of 100 registered car owners. It was a long job and a dull one. Dozens of people weren't at home when we called. We had to rig up a system of checkbacks for each one of these. Some cars had changed hands 2 and 3 times. That meant more checking. By the end of the second week, we'd gone through more than half of the 4,600 names on the list. By the end of the fourth week, we had less than 1,000 to go. At the General Hospital, the victim, Sheila Gordon, was pronounced out of danger and recovering. We questioned her, but all she could tell us was that she thought the hit-and-run car was a dark color. The search went on. Monday, October 6th, Ben and I spent a 10-hour day checking a list of car owners south of town. It was 6:35 p.m. when we got back to the office.
Hi.
Hi, Reed. How'd you do today?
Fair. Looks like we got one.
What do you mean?
Guy's name is Ralph Angelo. Let's see. 8690 Backerley Road. Checked him out early this morning. First call.
What'd you get?
One's a late model Plymouth, light blue. License number, there it is, 17 Arthur 2804. Wasn't home. Talked to his wife.
Yeah?
She said the car's been sitting home in the garage for the past month. Husband won't drive it.
What's the story?
Told her there was something wrong with it. He was going to trade it in. McLennan and I tried it. Car's in first-class shape.
What about the front end of the car?
Pretty clean. One of the bars in the radiator grill slightly bent. Soft crease on the hood, another one in the right fender.
Did you bring the car in?
Yeah. Crown Eyes been working on it since lunch down in the garage.
Anything else?
Found a gas receipt in the glove compartment, dated September 3rd, night of the accident.
Where's Angelo now?
Santa Barbara, business trip. Due home tonight about 10. McLennan and I will pick him up then. See what he's got to say.
That sounds good. How many possibilities does that make, Joe?
Well, let me see. Out of 3,700 we've checked, about 4 good ones. I'll get that. Accident investigation, Friday.
Hi, Joe. This is Lee Jones.
Yeah, Lee.
Just finished checking the Plymouth Reed and McLennan brought in.
You find anything?
Fabric prints on front bumper and the hood.
Yeah?
Indentation of soft object on hood and right front fender. Something else on that fender.
What's that?
Set of lip impressions.
What's it mean?
We found the car. Only one job left.
Yeah?
Find the driver.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of attorney R. Michael Charters, member of the New York Bar. And this is his actual signed statement.
Lawyers are always working against time. Long hours mean smoking more, and that's why I prefer extra mild Fatimas. I recommend them to anyone who likes a king-size cigarette.
In my opinion, it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy Fatima yourself.
The long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes. Monday, October 6th, 10 p.m. Suspect Ralph Angelo was picked up at his home by investigating officers and brought downtown to the interrogation room. Sergeants Reed and McLennan, Ben, and myself questioned him for 3 hours. At 1:30 a.m., we took Angelo to the county jail where he was booked on suspicion of 501 vehicle code, hit-and-run felony. The next morning, we obtained a warrant from the district attorney's office, and later that day, Ralph Angelo was arraigned in Municipal Court Division 7. The date was set for his preliminary hearing in Municipal Court. Sheila Gordon recovered from her injuries and was released from the General Hospital. On October 10th, the preliminary hearing was held. Sheila Gordon was on the stand most of the morning. After the noon recess, I was called to testify.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that testimony about to give handing in this case be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name.
Joe Friday.
Be seated. State your name, please.
Joe Friday.
Your address.
4656 Collis Avenue.
Your occupation.
I'm a police officer in and for the city of Los Angeles.
Are you one of the investigating officers assigned to this case?
I am.
Did you have a conversation with the defendant regarding this case?
I did.
Where?
In the traffic division at 123 South Figueroa Street.
Who's present?
The defendant, Sergeants McLennan, Reed, Romero, and myself.
Were the statements made by the defendant free and voluntary?
They were.
Were there any promise of immunity or reward or the use of force or violence induced in that statement?
No, there was none.
You tell the court the extent of the conversation at that time.
Well, first of all, I asked him if he was the registered owner of a 1948 Plymouth automobile, California license number 17 Arthur 2804. He admitted that he was. And then I asked him if he was driving that car on the night of September 3rd. He said he was, but that he did not drive anywhere near the location of the hit-and-run felony that night at 7th and Carondelet Street.
Did the defendant tell you where he drove his car that night?
No, sir.
Did you ask the defendant where he drove his car that night of September 3rd?
Yes, I did.
And what did he answer?
Well, he said, it's none of your business.
Did you persist in this line of questioning?
Yes, I did.
The defendant continued to refuse to give you the information?
That's right.
Did the defendant state where he was on the night of September 3rd, between 10 p.m. and midnight?
He refused to tell us.
You advised the defendant at that time that his car had been impounded for investigation?
That's right.
Did you advise him that several points of incriminating evidence had been found in the car?
Yes, we did.
And what did he say in answer?
Well, he said, you can't prove a thing. I wasn't near the place. You can't prove a thing.
Was that the extent of the conversation between you and the defendant?
It was.
Thank you, that's all.
Counsel for defense?
No questions, Your Honor.
Leland Jones, come to stand.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give pending this case be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name.
Lee Jones.
Please state it.
Your occupation?
I'm a police officer in and for the city of Los Angeles.
What particular detail are you assigned to?
I'm a lieutenant in charge of the police crime laboratory.
Will counsel for defense stipulate the witness as a qualified forensic chemist?
So stipulated.
Mr. Jones, you are the commander in charge of the police department's scientific investigation division. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Jones, I will show you a photograph of an automobile. California license number 17A2804 to be marked People's Exhibit C. Have you ever seen this car before?
I have.
Where and when did you see it, please?
I saw it at the Traffic Division Garage, 123 South Figueroa Street, Monday, October 6th this year.
Did you make an examination of this car at that time?
I did.
What did the examination consist of? And what were your findings?
I made a systematic examination of the car using oblique lighting from a 500-watt photo flood lamp and a bell-type reflector. I found the following evidence. On the front bumper of the car, I found fabric marks consisting of 51 threads to the inch. I then took a perpendicular photograph of those marks with a copy camera. Here is a photograph of that portion of the bumper containing those marks.
Now, I wish this photograph will mark People's Exhibit D for identification.
Let it be so.
You proceed, please, Mr. Jones. What else did you find in your examination of the defendant's car?
I found fabric marks on the cowling of the car, extending back onto the hood. These marks were made by fabric having a weave of 38 ribs to the inch. I have here a photograph of those marks.
Thank you. I'm going to ask this photograph to mark People's Exhibit E.
So, Mark.
What else did you find in your examination of the car, Mr. Jones?
I also noted an indentation in the right portion of the car's hood. It had the appearance of having been made by a soft object enclosed in fabric striking the car.
Would a human body struck by a car make such an indentation?
Yes, it would. Here's a photograph I took of that indentation on the defendant's car.
I'll ask this photograph to mark as People's Exhibit F.
So marked.
All right, continue, Mr. Jones.
On the top of the right-hand fender of the car, I found a lip imprint in red lipstick. I lifted that print with a piece of cellophane tape, then placed the tape on a plain white card, which I have right here with me.
Thank you. Ask this card to mark People's Exhibit G.
So marked.
Now, Mr. Jones, these pieces of evidence which you found on the defendant's car, did you compare them with other objects?
I did.
Will you please state what comparisons you made and your findings?
Well, in the first place, I find that the fabric marks in People's Exhibit C, taken from the bumper of the car, has the same count per inch as the stockings worn by the victim, Sheila Gordon. Secondly, I found the fabric marks shown in People's Exhibit D from the cowling hood of the car to be the same count per inch as the coat worn by the defendant. I further made a comparison between the lip imprint found on the right fender, as shown in People's Exhibit G, and various exemplars of the victim's lips. She made the exemplars by placing her lips against heavy, stiff white paper. I have those exemplars with me.
As they were marked as People's Exhibit H.
So marked.
Now, may I ask, how did the lip imprint taken from the defendant's car compare with these sampled imprints made by the victim's lips?
I found that there were 17 points of similarity between the two. These points of similarity consist of various small lines or wrinkles which match identically, as may be seen in the photographs.
Jones, do you have an opinion as to the origin of the lip imprint on the defendant's car as shown in People's Exhibit G?
I do.
What is that opinion?
It's my opinion that the lip imprint on the defendant's car, as shown in Exhibit G, was made by the lips of the victim, Sheila Gordon.
You're with me.
Now, Mr. Jones, we recognize, of course, that you're a qualified forensic chemist. But are you going to set yourself up as an expert on women's lips, too?
Well, I've done some research in that department, too.
Mr. Jones, isn't it possible that any number of lip imprints made by different people would look exactly alike?
No, it is not possible. There are no two things in the world exactly alike. There are no two sets of lip imprints alike.
Well, anyone who's been around at all would know that. That's all, Mr. Jones. Thank you.
Repeat his case, Your Honor.
Counsel for the defense? We will not offer any defense at this time, Your Honor.
It appears to me that a felony has been committed and reasonable cause to believe that the defendant committed it. The defendant will be held to answer in Superior Court.
Tuesday, November 4th. Suspect Ralph Angelo was arraigned in Superior Court, Department 88, and the date of his trial was set for December 1st. During the weeks preceding the set of the trial, we worked with Lee Jones and the district attorney's office preparing the case against Ralph Angelo. 2 days before the trial opened, we had a visit from one of the men from the DA's office, process server.
All right, Bert.
Hi. We got trouble.
Yeah?
Sheila Gordon's disappeared.
Wednesday, December 1st, Ralph Angelo's trial opened and Sheila Gordon was called to the stand. She failed to appear. We checked her few known friends in the city. They couldn't help. She had disappeared from her new address and taken everything with her. A bench warrant was issued by Superior Court for Sheila Gordon. The deputy district attorney succeeded in having the court grant a delay in order to find the missing girl, in this case, the complaining witness. Meantime, we got out a local broadcast and an APB. We got missing persons detail to help out in the search. Still no sign. Ralph Angelo's lawyer asked the court for dismissal of the hit-and-run felony case because of Sheila Gordon's failure to appear. On December the 8th, the court ruled on the motion.
Regarding the motion by the defense for dismissal of hit-and-run felony charges against Ralph C. Angelo, because of the prosecution's failure to produce the complaining witness, to which Sheila R. Gordon, the court feels it would not serve the interests of justice to continue the case. Case dismissed.
The search for Sheila Gordon went on. Behind us, we had logged 3 solid months of police work, checking and running down more than 4,000 cars. Hours of labor in the crime lab. More hours pounding the pavement, questioning people, checking, rechecking. Without a trial and a conviction, it didn't mean a thing. 3 days before Christmas, we received information that the missing girl was living in a small town south of Los Angeles. Ben and I checked the address.
What was the apartment number?
7A, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Again.
Yeah? Oh, you two. Come in. Sit down. Make yourself at home. I'm sorry the place is such a mess. A little party earlier tonight. It's messed up.
What about the trial? Why didn't she show?
Come on, sit down. See, I'll tell you what. I'll freshen up a little, put on some makeup.
What about the trial?
I didn't have anything against the guy. I didn't mean to run me down. You wouldn't happen to have a drink on you, would you?
You know better than that.
Why didn't you show up at the trial?
I told you I didn't have anything against the guy.
What was it, a payoff?
Look, why don't we go out and get something, then we can come back and have a party.
How much did he give you?
$50. He was awful nice.
You agreed not to show in court.
I didn't have anything against the guy, that's all.
Better get your coat.
Why?
That's what the court wants to know.
You're taking me in. Why? Is there any law against forgiving?
Yeah, when you get paid for it.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 3rd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here's the actual report.
From coast to coast, king-size Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima, best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Sheila Gordon was returned to Los Angeles, and a new date was set for the trial of Ralph Angelo. Subsequently, he was tried and found guilty as charged. Angelo was also tried, along with Sheila Gordon, for compounding a felony. They were both convicted and received the sentence as prescribed by law. They are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
The Halls of Ivy is especially pleasant listening tomorrow on NBC. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Bunko Fugitive Detail. You receive information an escaped criminal is hiding out in your city. He's dangerous. He may be armed. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke king-size Fatima. Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. And that's why Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. So, enjoy Fatima, the best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild. Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, April 27th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working a night watch out of Bunko Fugitive Detail. My partner is Ben Romero. The boss is Blaine Steed, captain of Bunko Fugitive. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from communications, and it was 6:45 p.m. when I got to room 38, squad room.
Hi. How are you?
How about some dinner?
Well, we got one to check out first. Here's the teletype. Skipper just brought it in.
Thanks. From San Rafael, huh? Pick up and hold for this department one Alfred Garvey. Wanted for suspicion, forgery, robbery. This man poses as a fingerprint expert from San Rafael Police Department.
Here's his mug book from the Record Bureau.
Mm-hmm. We're informed Garvey is registered at the Fair Deal Hotel, your city. Where's that?
Over near First and Broadway.
Please advise us on his arrest, and officers will arrive with warrant signed. Chief Police Frank Kelly, San Rafael, California.
Shouldn't take long to pick him up.
All right, we can eat later, I guess.
Hi.
Hi, Max. What are you doing around? I thought you took off on vacation.
I just came back to pick up some stuff in my locker.
Soft touch?
Sure. Listen, the wife's got the car there. Are you guys going anywhere near North Main and Daly?
Yeah, we're going to leave right now.
Oh, okay. Let me grab my coat.
All right.
You live out near Highland Park, don't you, May?
Yeah. Wife took the kids shopping in the car this afternoon. Had to get them shoes for our vacation. Kids sure scuff up the toes in a hurry.
All right, you all set?
Let's go.
Where are you going on your vacation?
Big Bear. We're going to stay the whole 3 weeks. The in-laws own a cabin up there. They even pay the utilities for us.
It's pretty nice.
Only one trouble.
What's that?
They're coming with us.
Oh.
Where'd you park?
In the captain's stall.
All right.
All right, in the back.
Okay.
You two still working on that Valley case?
No, we washed it up Monday.
What's this one?
Teletype from San Rafael. I want some guy picked up. Here's a mugshot.
Who's Richards going to work with while he's gone, May?
I don't know. What's the crowd up ahead?
Oh, yeah. Shriners Convention. I forgot they were having a parade tonight.
Now, you better stay over to one side. I think we can get through all right. Watch those kids there.
There we go.
That's the place up ahead, isn't it?
Fair deal, yeah.
We got to stop by this hotel a minute, Max. You want to wait here?
I'll come in.
All right.
It's a big turnout for the parade, huh?
Yeah, it's a big crowd.
Fair Deal Hotel. Look at those rates. 35 cents a day, $2 a week.
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
Police officers, would you look at this picture, please?
All right.
Maybe registered as Alfred Garvey.
Garvey sure came in yesterday. The picture makes him look old.
Is he in now?
Well, let's see. Garvey, room 307. The key's gone. He must be in.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Elevator's down there at the end of the hall.
Okay.
The elevator's in use.
Let's take the stairs.
I'll wait for you here. I want to see the parade.
Okay, man. I've never seen it to fail. Stairs. Every time my arch is hurt, we get a thief to check who lives upstairs.
Just one more flight.
Yeah.
305, 307.
Door's open.
Let's have a look. Come on.
It's empty. Nothing in the closet.
Yeah, pretty fast checkout.
Just came from downstairs.
The lobby. Come on.
Yep.
Come on, hurry up.
Hey, stop him! Stop that guy! Police! Police!
It's Maxwell. Max, are you all right?
Went out the door, blue suit.
It was Garvey. He shot your friend.
Call an ambulance.
He ran out the door and shot your friend.
Come on, Ben. Call that ambulance, will you? Hey, you. Did you see a man come out of this hotel?
What'd you say?
Did you just see a man come out of this hotel?
That one? I don't know.
All right, Ben, you go that way. I'll check up this way.
Yeah, right.
What's the matter? Watch where you're going, huh?
Did you see a man running up this way just now, about my height, blue suit?
Huh? No, I didn't see anybody. Did you see anybody?
Hey, boy.
Yeah, you want a paper, mister?
No, listen, did you see a man running by here a minute ago in a blue suit?
Well, maybe. I didn't notice it. You want a paper?
I'm sorry. Sorry, lady. Ben, over here. Did you spot him?
No, we're going to need help.
All right, come on.
I called the ambulance. You better help your friend. He's bleeding. I don't know what to do.
Ben, get a hold of communications. Get some help out here.
Right.
The guy came down in the elevator. It was Garvey. Your friend tried to stop him. Garvey shot him right in the face.
All right, stop yelling,
It was terrible. Now, look, he's bleeding. You better do something.
Will you shut up? Max, how is it?
Chest hurts.
Yeah, all right, easy, huh?
Garvey came out of the elevator fast with a gun.
All right, take it easy now.
Joe, I got communications there blocking off the area.
That's fine. Watch that front door. Will you keep those people out of here?
Yeah.
Chest.
I'll be here in a minute, boy.
Call the wife, Eleanor.
Ambulance is here.
Yeah.
He looks bad.
Well, he's not going to get any worse. He's dead. The name on the personnel report said John Warren Maxwell, Sergeant, Los Angeles Police Department, badge number 10377. Nearest living relative, wife, Eleanor Jean Maxwell. Dependents, John Maxwell, Jr., 6 years. Deborah Lee Maxwell, 2 years. Death in line of duty, April 27, 7:15 p.m. John Maxwell's body was removed from Georgia Street to the county morgue. At 7:45, a special detail of men from homicide and bunco fugitive were on the scene to aid in the investigation of the killing. The neighborhood where the Fairdeal Hotel was located was covered for a half mile around. By 9 o'clock, the parade was over and the area was cleared. We had a single lead to work with. In checking out the different taxicab stands in the neighborhood, we found out that 3 separate fares had been picked up within 2 blocks of the hotel 4 minutes after the shooting. Ben and I went to the offices of the taxicab company. The cabs in question were called in and the way bills were checked. The times of the 3 different trips were listed, and so was the address of each destination. We copied down the addresses and then interviewed the drivers.
We're going to give each one of you half a dozen pictures. Like to see if you can identify any of them as passengers you picked up tonight near the Fairdeal Hotel.
All right, here you go.
There you are.
4, 5, 6. Check them carefully, please.
Here are yours right here. Take a good look at each one of them.
Okay, thanks.
Now, fellas, take your time. Look them all over real good before you make up your mind.
Yeah, here's the one, Sergeant. No mistake.
Let me see. Where'd you pick up this man?
About a block from the hotel. I drove him to a place on 14th Street. Same address on the waybill.
Ben?
Yeah?
Alfred Garvey. Ben and I, along with Ricketts and Chandler from Homicide, drove out to the 14th Street address, another small transient hotel. The clerk on duty identified Garvey from his mugshot. He said the suspect had called at the hotel at about 7:45 that night and asked to see one of the guests, Mrs. Lorraine Thomas. The clerk said he told Garvey Mrs. Thomas was out, that she hadn't been there for 4 days. Ricketts and Chandler went on a stakeout in the lobby of the hotel, and Ben and I went up to the second floor to stake out Mrs. Thomas's room. Friday, 11:25 a.m. Lorraine Thomas returned to the hotel and was taken into custody. We took her to Homicide and questioned her for more than an hour. She admitted that she was acquainted with Garvey, but that's all. 1 o'clock. We went to Clifton's cafeteria for lunch.
Here, take this tray.
Thanks.
Silverware?
Get here a little earlier, you wouldn't get this. Look at that line running.
You were the first one he ran to after the shooting.
Well, Garvey doesn't have many friends in Los Angeles. Maybe that's why he looked me up. I'll have the mixed green salad, please.
Kind of work does Garvey do, do you know?
He told me he was in the Merchant Marines.
Coleslaw.
Some of that potato salad, please. Do you know what he does in the Merchant Marine?
He told me a steward. French dressing, please.
Do you know any of his friends in town?
No, I don't. Rye bread. Can I have an extra butter, please?
French roll. What kind do you want, Ben?
Yeah, give me some of those biscuits. Thank you.
Garvey usually stay at the Fairdeal Hotel when he's in town?
I don't know.
That split piece soup sure looks good, doesn't it?
We told you that the police up north were looking for him.
Yeah, I know you did. Like I told you, I've been out with him a few times. That's all I know about him.
He must have introduced you to some of his friends.
I'll have the prime ribs there, rare. That piece there.
How about it? Did you ever meet any of his friends?
Yeah, one or two. No gravy.
Meatloaf, brown gravy. Remember any of the names of his friends?
I just met him, that's all. I don't remember.
Let me have a roast turkey. Go kind of heavy on that dressing, will you? Did you ever go out with any of them?
No.
Why do you think Garvey went to your hotel after the shooting?
I don't know.
Maybe he figured you'd hide him.
I don't know why you should.
He killed a man and headed straight for your place. Doesn't make you look too good.
I can't help that. I like some of those string beans, please.
Miss Thomas, you know it's going to go hard on you if you're holding back information on Garvey.
I'm not.
Why don't you take some of that summer squash, Joe? It's good for you.
Well, I can't eat that much. When did you first meet Garvey?
About 3 years ago, up in St. Helena.
You might as well keep your nose clean.
How do you mean?
We're going to reach you, Miss Thomas. You might as well tell us all you know.
Look, if Garvey's killing people, I don't want to have any more to do with him.
We do. Now, where is he?
I told you, I don't know.
Squash, please.
You said you had a little boy, didn't you, Miss Thomas?
Do we have to talk about it now? I thought we were going to have lunch.
How old's your little boy?
He's 7 years old.
Where is he now?
He's in school up in San Francisco. Isn't his line going awful slow?
It's lunchtime. You know that cop that Garvey killed last night?
Mashed potatoes, country gravy.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, I know he killed a cop.
He had a little boy, too.
There's nothing I can do.
No potatoes, thanks.
Yeah, there's something you can do, Miss Thomas. You can tell us where Garvey is.
If I knew, I'd tell you.
French fries, please.
You're kidding us, Miss Thomas, but we're not going to kid you. You know a lot more about this than you're telling us.
Maybe I do, but I'm scared.
Who are you afraid of?
Look, why can't you count me out of this? I don't want any part of it.
You're in all the way. The only way you're going to get out is to tell us what you know.
He'll kill me. Suppose something happens to me, nobody's going to worry about my kid.
You don't have to worry. He's not going to find out.
No dessert, please.
They'll both kill me.
Both? Who's the other one?
Oh, what's the use? Trouble, no matter what you try to do, nothing but trouble.
Garvey's working with somebody, is that it?
His name's Jack Fleming.
Yeah?
They made me promise to cover for him. Give him a place to hide out whenever the heat was on.
Then you know where they are.
No, I don't, and that's the truth.
Why do they need a place to hide out?
You said Garvey killed a cop.
What about Fleming?
Hey, Joe, you better move along.
Oh, I'm sorry. What about Fleming?
We're going to pull some jobs.
All right, we can skip the dessert. Come on. I'll take a check for all of them.
Let's go.
What kind of jobs? Where?
Hold up. Tomorrow night. Three Kings Liquor Store out in Wilshire.
Let's sit down.
They're both the same, Garvey and Fleming. They can't hold a gun without using it.
Here's the table. Oh, you dropped your tray. I'll get you some more.
Don't bother. I'm not hungry anymore.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Lee Silver, general assignment reporter on one of New York's greatest newspapers. This is his actual signed statement.
When you have to meet a news deadline, you work at a fast pace, smoke at a fast pace. That's why I smoke Fatima. They're extra mild. In my opinion, it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And more smokers are discovering this every day. Actual figures show Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy Fatima yourself.
The long cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Saturday, April 29th. Last rites were held for Sergeant John Maxwell, and he was buried at Holy Cross Cemetery. A guard of honor from the police department was present, along with most of the men Maxwell had worked with in Bunko Fugitive Detail. The chief of detectives delivered a short eulogy, and one of the men from the department band sounded taps over the grave. We got back to the office at noon, checked in at the record bureau. The photocopy room had taken negatives of Garvey's and Fleming's coming out mugs and made duplicates that were distributed to all officers. The stakeouts continued at the Fair Deal and the 14th Street Hotel where Lorraine Thomas was staying. She was put under protective custody. Ben and I, Ricketts and Chandler, went on stakeout at the Three Kings Liquor Store on Wilshire Boulevard. It was a large, modern place that did a volume business, especially on Saturday night. Ricketts and Chandler covered the store from the outside. Ben and I were stationed in the supply room at the rear of the place, where we had the main counter and most of the store in full view. We set up a prearranged signal with the clerk on duty, and if and when Garvey and Fleming showed up, the clerk was to accidentally knock an empty bottle off the counter. We waited until midnight. Nothing happened.
It's the first customer in half an hour. It's kind of slow.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Here comes another one.
No sale. It's a woman.
Clerk sure got the jitters.
Well, I'll put in with him.
Well, I could go for a hamburger.
What did you eat there?
I wasn't very hungry then.
Oh, I've got an almond bar. You want it?
Yeah, thanks. Wait a minute. Another customer.
Yeah, man. Can't see his face too well with that hat on, can you?
That's Fleming. Come on. Police officers, get your hands up.
Watch it, Joe. You hit him.
He's going out the front. Come on.
Ricketts and Chandler stopped him.
Yeah, he's down. Watch him. Get the gun.
Yeah. Yeah, here it is.
That's Fleming, all right. Ricketts, call an ambulance.
What's the score?
Well, looks like one in the shoulder and legs, too.
What about Garvey?
I don't know.
What do you think?
Fleming stopped all the slugs.
Yeah.
Let's ask him. The wounded suspect was treated at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital and then booked into the prison ward at the General Hospital. At 11 a.m. the next day, we questioned him, but he refused to admit that he even knew Alfred Garvey. We re-questioned Fleming for the next 3 days with no results. The stakeouts continued. The search went on. There was no response to our APB. Garvey was still at large. As far as we were concerned, there was only one way to get directly to Garvey, and that was through Fleming. We called on Lorraine Thomas again and asked her that if she'd try to get some information on Fleming, try to get him to talk and to tell her where Garvey was.
I'm not even sure if he knows where Garvey's hiding.
He must have a good idea.
Even if he has, he's not going to tell me. He wouldn't trust me that far.
He'll go further with you than he will with us. He won't even give us his name.
I'm afraid it's up to you, Miss Thomas.
Why can't you let me out of this?
Hey, look, figure it this way. You knew about Fleming and Garvey. You knew they were in town. You knew what they were up to. You didn't break your back to save that dead cop's life.
Garvey shot him. I did.
You knew he was a killer. You knew he had a gun.
What do you want me to do?
Get close to Fleming. Visit him every day till he talks.
But he doesn't trust me, I told you.
Then get him to trust you, will you? Do favors for him. He wants to contact friends to raise money for a lawyer. Help him do that. Run errands. Do anything for him within reason.
Suppose he finds out about the holdup. That I told you about it.
He's got a long stretch ahead of him. He won't bother you.
They'll kill me if they find out. They wouldn't wait a minute.
They won't find out.
All right. Won't be my fault. Al did the shooting. He killed the cop. Let him square it up.
He'll square it with the court. There's only one trouble.
Yeah?
Maxwell's wife and kids. How does Al square it with them? On the morning of May 8th, suspect Jack Fleming was removed from his private room and wheeled down to the X-ray lab on the pretext of treatment. While he was absent, a dictaphone was placed in his room by a sound crew from the crime lab. Fleming was then returned. That afternoon, while Ben and I listened in on earphones in the next room, Lorraine Thomas paid her first visit to Fleming. We had briefed her on how to proceed in getting the suspect to talk, in particular, to reveal Garvey's hideout. It was a slow process. For the next 15 days, between the hours of 2 and 4 in the afternoon, Mrs. Thomas visited Fleming while Ben and I monitored their conversation in the adjoining room. For 15 days, despite all her shows of confidence, Fleming refused to confide. He was sullen and close-mouthed. Some afternoons he would hardly speak to her. On the 16th day, his mood seemed to be improving.
Here. Let me fix that pillow for you, Jack. There. Is that better?
Yeah. That's good. Thanks.
I got in touch with Dave and Johnny like you asked me to.
Huh? What'd they say?
Well, they said they could get you the money for the lawyer the day after tomorrow. And Dave said he might be over to see you tonight.
Yeah, that's fine. Once I get a lawyer, I'll stop worrying.
I stopped by Danelli's place, too. Pop Royce wasn't there. I'm going back tomorrow to see him. He ought to be able to help.
You've been okay, Larry. I won't forget it.
Oh, that's what friends are for. Jim, sure sorry you had to get it this way.
Forget it. I can give it back where it came from.
Say, I brought you some new magazines, a couple of candy bars.
Swell. Put them over here near the bed, will you?
Yeah, sure. Let me get them for you. There, Jack. See, I'll put them right here on this table. I'll bring you some more tomorrow.
That's fine. You're going to try and see Pop Royce again tomorrow?
Yeah, they told me he'd be in around noon for sure. If I don't see him then, I'll keep trying till I do.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, listen. There's something else.
Sure, Jack.
Come here. I don't want to talk loud. The cops might have bunked this room.
Yeah. All right.
A little closer.
Okay.
Tonight, I want you to go to George's joint, the Blue Moon, down on South Flower.
Yeah?
And ask for George at the bar. He's usually around from 11 on.
Uh-huh.
Tell George you've seen me. He'll know it. Then tell him to take you to Al.
To take me to Al?
Yeah, Al Garvey. George knows the place.
Yeah. Okay, Jack.
And keep your mouth shut. Don't talk to anybody but George. He knows the place.
All right, Jack. They'll help you out.
Well?
Yeah.
It's a long wait.
Get paid. Let's go. 10:45 p.m. A detail of 3 cars followed Lorraine Thomas to the Blue Moon Tavern on South Flower Street. We parked down the block and watched her go in. At 15 minutes past 11, she came out with a small, fat man in a dark blue suit. They got in a tan-colored coupe and drove south. The cruiser cars, using 3-way radio, tailed the coupe alternately out through the Echo Park area and then back to the starting point at the Blue Moon Tavern. Lorraine Thomas went back into the bar with a man and 20 minutes later came out, caught a taxi, and took it to her hotel on 14th Street. We drove back to the office. It was 5 minutes past 1 a.m.
That's it?
I get it. Munko fugitive Friday.
Lorraine Thomas, Sergeant. He showed me the place George did.
Where?
We drove past it. 1032 Alamo, apartment 3.
Is Garvey there now?
No. George said he's supposed to be there tomorrow in the afternoon, 5 o'clock. George said I'll have to go alone.
Are they watching the place?
I think so. Garvey's staying with another man. They got guns.
You know where Garvey is now?
George wouldn't tell me.
We can't afford to tip our hand. How do we know Garvey will be there at 5 o'clock tomorrow?
That's just it. We don't.
May 9th, 3 p.m. An immediate stakeout was placed at the suspected hideout. A detail of 20 plainclothesmen began filtering into the neighborhood in the vicinity of 1032 Alamo Street. The 3-story apartment house at that address was checked thoroughly and then covered on all sides. Apartment 3 on the first floor was checked out, too. It was registered to a Thomas King, whom the manager identified as Alfred Garvey from his mugshot. To avoid pedestrian casualties, we toured the immediate vicinity between 3 and 4:30 that afternoon, advising residents and storekeepers to clear the street and stay inside. At 4:35 p.m., the men in the detail took up their assigned positions. We waited.
Hold that light, will you?
Yeah.
Thanks. Awful lot of trouble for that punk Garvey.
Be more trouble if he doesn't show.
No search left. Tan coupe coming down the street behind us.
Same one we tailed last night.
A girl driving. There's 2 guys with her.
Yeah, Garvey's one of them. They're pulling up.
Ready?
Oh, wait a minute. All right, let's go. Police officers, hold it right there.
Al, cops! No, get out.
Get behind the car.
Throw him in, Garvey. You haven't got a chance.
Al, break for the house!
All right, hold it, Ben.
That's it. Both of them.
Come on.
Both dead. Garvey. The other guy. Rotten case.
Rotten business.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 93, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, king-size Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
Long cigarette smokers find Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Long cigarette smokers find that Fatima is extra mild because it's the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Jack Fleming, the only survivor of the hold-up gang, was found guilty of several counts of armed robbery. Garvey's accomplices who aided him in hiding out were tried and convicted of being accessories. They are serving prison terms as prescribed by law. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
The Halls of Ivy is pleasant listening tomorrow on NBC.